A service of KIBMradio.com, the Internet's home for an all old-time radio.
Kroger Tender Ray Beef, no other beef so fresh can be so tender, presents Hearts in Harmony, transcribed. It'll be a happy day, yes, a very happy day, when you can again buy all the Kroger Tender Ray beef you want. No other beef so fresh can be so tender. But every day can be a glad day if you treat your family to delicious Kroger selected seafood. There's a plentiful supply, and it's yours at a money-saving price. You'll want to buy plenty, for every morsel is fresh and firm-fleshed and delicious. Every tantalizing bite is packed with that wonderful fresh-caught flavor, because Kroger selected seafood is rushed to your neighborhood Kroger store by Kroger's own special rush delivery system. Then, after delivery, that fine flavor is protected until the moment you buy through precision refrigeration. And you've got a wide, tempting variety to choose from, too. Freshwater and saltwater fish, fish for baking, for frying, for broiling, and fish for chowder. In short, everything you need for an exciting seafood dinner, one that's tops with the folks at home, is waiting for you at your Kroger store. So drop around and ask for Kroger selected seafoods. And don't forget, your neighborhood Kroger store is the only place where you can buy Kroger selected seafoods. And now, Hearts in Harmony. It's all over now. Penny Gibbs is home again, her terrible ordeal in the cruel hands of gangster Bill Carver and the vicious Jerry Manson at an end. And once again, things seem to have returned to normal as Penny sits on the piano bench in the Gibbs home and says to her brother Pat,
"Come on, Pat. Sing a song for little Valerie."
For that little daughter of mine, I'd do anything, Penny. What'll it be?
No. Well, you said anything. How should I know what it'll be?
Now, look, don't get technical, sis.
Okay, I won't if you get musical.
Well, let's hear you get instrumental.
Oh, no. All right.
Whoa, wait a minute there, sis. You call that music?
No, not exactly. Okay, you want to sing. How about this?
Well, it sounds wonderful.
Well, of course. But how good can you make it sound with the words?
Well, you might play the whole thing and try me out.
All right, here goes.
Here goes the finest piano in the world and the finest voice. Give me the beat, huh?
Okay, here it is.
That sounds good. See how this sounds.
You think I don't love you, oh, but I do. How can I show that I do? You think I don't get blue, oh, but I do. Though I get light-hearted too. First I'm singing, then I'm sighing, then I'm flying high above. You think I don't know why, oh, but I do. I know that it's you I love.
Okay?
Okay.
How okay?
Okay with capital letters.
Prejudice, huh?
Mm-hmm. Actually, you're awful. I'll just tell you you're good to make you feel better.
Oh, I believe it.
You better not.
Penny,
Mm-hmm.
you want to talk about it?
Talk about what?
About this week and all that's happened to you?
Well, it's not really as terrible now as it was at the time.
Oh, that's good.
It's funny how fast you forget. It was only yesterday. Not speaking in just terms, but actually it was only yesterday. And yet I've forgotten a lot of the fright.
Well, you'll forget all of it before long, Penny.
No, Pat. There are some things about it I won't forget. I'll never forget the 2 nights and days Bill and Jerry Manson kept me in that house by the river. I'll never forget the night Freddie came to see me and told me to make love to Bill so that Jerry'd be jealous and fight with Bill and give me a chance to get away. And I'll never forget the fight between Bill and Jerry. That was awful.
Well, it's a great home again, sis, with you in it.
There was a time I thought I'd never see it again.
I guess so.
But I won't leave it now, Pat. Not ever.
Not on orders from Bill Carver and Jerry Manson, you won't. You know what they'll get for what they did to you?
I have a fair idea.
They're lucky if the lightest they get is life.
Look, let's not talk about it.
Okay. Well, what shall we talk about?
Oh, let's talk about you. Is everything all right between you and Suzanne?
Perfect.
Good. I thought it was just her imagination.
Uh-oh.
What do you mean, uh-oh?
That imagination stuff. That started again, has it?
Well, she says you're treating her badly, and I haven't seen you do anything wrong or said anything harsh to her. That's why I mentioned the imagination.
I've been afraid of it, Penny.
Afraid of what?
Suzanne and her imagination. Oh, it isn't just imagination, though, sis. It's hallucination, and even more than that. There's something wrong with her mind. She has strange spells of... Well, I don't know what you call it, but Dr. Ryan said there was something wrong. Sis, I hate to burden you with anything after all you've been through, but I'm afraid Suzanne is going to be a problem, and I'm sort of going to need your help.
Hi there, Professor Rogers. You want to see me?
Yes, Freddie, come in.
Yeah, thanks. What's up?
Oh, this isn't going to be a lecture, if that's what you're afraid of.
No? You mean I ain't done nothing wrong in the last few hours?
Hardly. Sit down.
You inviting me to sit down, huh?
Uh-huh.
Well, I sure will. In case it'll be about 100 years before you ask me to do that again.
Oh, I don't think so, Freddie. You see, I'm afraid it isn't you who's been wrong all this time, but I.
Wrong? About what, Prof?
Oh, a lot of things, Freddie. Look, I'm not so good at making speeches out of a classroom, but...
Well, now, look here, Prof. Why don't you make like this is a classroom and give out with the speech?
Well, it's not exactly a speech, Freddie. It's more of a lengthy apology for wrongs done in the past.
Hey, look, Prof. Don't you apologize for me to nothing. I ought to apologize to you for a living.
Well, don't do that, Freddie. Because if it weren't for you, Penny Gibbs might not be alive this evening.
Oh, so that's it. Hey, Prof, you're sort of stuck on her, huh?
No, it's nothing like that, Freddie.
You mean you ain't falling for her?
No, I don't think so.
You ain't, huh? Well, that's great. Hey, look, make this short, will you, Prof? I got some things to attend to.
You have? What?
Oh, it's nothing you got to get excited about, and nothing wrong, neither. See, it's just something I got to say to somebody.
Oh, Miss Gibbs.
What's it to you, Prof? You don't give a hoot for it, do you?
Well, I wouldn't put it quite as bluntly and as emphatically as that, Freddie, but that's beside the point. The point is, I just want to say I'm proud of you. I'm sorry I ever mistrusted you, and, well, I hope you'll forgive me if I've ever been too harsh on you.
Look, Prof, anything you said against me, I'd come and see. And anything you did against me, you was being a smart guy. And don't figure me great stuff just 'cause I kept Carver and that Manson dame from giving the business to Gibbsy. I'm still just a punk, Prof.
Oh, no, Freddie, you're not.
Yes, I am. Guess I always will be, too. Unless a certain somebody thinks that maybe I got a chance to be something else. And, Prof, if you let me scram out of here now, I'd like to go talk to her about it right now. Gee, Gibbsy, it's swelly to go walking with me tonight. You sure you're warm enough?
Oh, yes, Freddie. It isn't very cold.
I guess walking with you, I could go out in my shirt sleeves.
On a night like this, I kind of doubt that.
Well, maybe I would be a little bit cold. You sure you didn't mind me asking you to go out walking?
No. No, in fact, I'm glad you did.
Yeah, why?
Oh, I just wanted to go walking.
Oh, with me?
Oh, why not? You're one of my favorite people.
Just one of them, huh?
All right. Tonight, you're one of my very, very special favorites.
I still say just one of them, huh?
Freddie, what's wrong?
That's nothing.
Freddie?
I said it was nothing, Gibbsy.
All right.
Look, Gibbsy.
Mm-hmm.
I just thought... I'll skip it.
Sure.
Yeah.
All right.
You want to walk down the street here, Gibbsy?
It's awfully dark.
Yeah, it is, but you got nothing to be afraid of.
No, I don't suppose so. Okay, let's walk down the street.
Yeah, that's going to be swell.
Freddie.
Huh?
Freddie, you want to say something to me, don't you?
Yeah, that's why I wanted to come down into this dark street.
Does a dark street help?
I ain't used to saying things like I'm going to say.
All right.
Gibbsy,
Hmm?
You don't want me to say this, huh?
Well, I'm not sure, Freddie.
You scared of what it's going to be, maybe?
Well, I don't know.
Well, don't worry about it, Gibbsy. I'm going to say it anyhow, so you might as well hear it.
If you want to.
Yeah, I want to. Come on, let's stop right here. Nice and dark.
All right, but why do you have to say it in the dark, Freddie?
I told you why, Gibbsy. I can't look at you and tell you this. I tried to before. I wanted to tell you the first time that I saw you. Gee, just looking at you, and there was that feeling inside of me like I never had before. Like a well full of water that was getting so full it was just all bubbling over. And, gee, I was sort of choking the words back in my throat, and I guess I ain't making too much sense, am I?
Yes, Freddie, you're making sense. Much too much sense.
I am, huh? Well, that's good. So while I'm going good, I can't see you smiling here at me because it's dark, see? And your eyes, they can't be laughing at me. And the look on your face calling me a no-count bum. Let me just tell you that, well, Gibbsy, I want to come out with it. I guess I love you, Gibbsy.
Oh, Freddie.
No, there I go lying again to you. No, I don't guess I love you, Gibbsy. I know I do.
So Freddie Lang is in love with Penny. How will Penny manage this? Does it mean Freddie will continue to complicate her life? And how serious are Pat's fears about his wife, Suzanne? Is she going to be a problem, too? Be sure to listen to the next dramatic episode of Hearts in Harmony. Of course, you know that nowadays there's not much chance of getting fresh and tender Kroger Tenderay beef. But do you know this? Do you know that right now your Kroger store has just what you want for a marvelous feast? It's Kroger Selected Seafood, the finest flavored seafood in town. And what a variety. There's saltwater and freshwater fish, fish for baking, frying, and broiling. Once you try Kroger's Selected Seafood, you'll agree, too, that it's the finest flavored seafood in town. In fact, when you buy Kroger Selected Seafood, your satisfaction is guaranteed.
The story you're about to hear is true. Only the names have been changed to protect the innocent.
Fatima Cigarettes, best of all long cigarettes, brings you Dragnet.
You're a detective sergeant. You're assigned to narcotics detail. You receive information that one of your city's most fashionable hotels is being used as the clearinghouse for high-grade heroin. Evidence points to a narcotics ring, the center of distribution. Your job, break it.
You'll be amazed when you compare Fatima with any other king-size cigarette.
The size is the same. They now cost the same. But in Fatima, the difference is quality.
You see, Fatima is the quality king-size cigarette because it contains the finest domestic and Turkish tobaccos superbly blended. And Fatima is extra mild, with a much different, much better flavor and aroma than any other long cigarette.
So compare Fatima yourself. Fatimas now cost the same as other long cigarettes, but your first puff will tell you...
Ah, that's different.
Yes, in Fatima, the difference is quality. Buy Fatima. They're extra mild, with a better flavor and aroma. Smoke Fatima, the quality king-size cigarette. Fatima, best of all long cigarettes.
Dragnet, the documented drama of an actual crime. For the next 30 minutes, in cooperation with the Los Angeles Police Department, you will travel step by step on the side of the law through an actual case transcribed from official police files. From beginning to end, from crime to punishment, Dragnet is the story of your police force in action.
It was Tuesday, October 5th. It was foggy and rainy in Los Angeles. We were working the day watch out of Narcotics Division. My partner's Ben Romero. The boss is Captain Kearney. My name's Friday. It was 8:47 a.m. when we got to 401 North Avenue 19, the main jail. Felony section.
Morning, fellas.
How are you today, Pete? Morning.
What brings you up here so early?
We want to see Monty Wilkins, booked in last night on Narcotics. Booking number's 906351.
Okay, let me look.
Okay.
Here it is. He's in 103.
Thank you, Pete. I'll put it in the book here, Joe.
Okay.
Here's my gun. You want to check it with yours?
Yeah, right.
I'll put him away.
Okay, Pete.
Here's your check.
Thank you, Pete. All set, Ben?
906351.
That's it.
Okay, let's go.
All right.
Hi. We want to talk to Monty Wilkins. He's in 103.
All right, we'll get him.
Monty Wilkins, 103 for interview.
Friday, Ben?
Hi, Monty. Better move out of the way there. He wants to lock that door, Monty.
Oh, yeah.
Let's go around the corner to the interview room, Monty.
All right.
Man, this is awful.
What's the matter? Don't you feel good?
I feel awful. Pretty sick. You look bad. I'll get the light.
Okay, Ben. Sit down, Monty.
Okay. Thanks. Well, it's been about a year and a half, hasn't it, Monty?
About that long, yeah.
We got you for possession that time, too, didn't we?
Yeah, that's right.
How long you been in the stuff this time?
Well, I guess I've been hooked bad about a month.
How much you shooting?
Oh, about 2 caps a day.
When you were picked up down in Slauson last night, you had 7 caps on you.
Yeah, that's right.
Well, we checked with the crime lab. They've run the stuff. It's not the usual Mexican, is it?
That's right.
You want to tell us about it?
Yeah, it's good stuff. It's not Mexican.
We know that, Monty. Where'd you get it?
Haven't had anything like that for a long time. Real good. Haven't been cut. Real fine. Maybe it's coming in from the East Coast. Can't get nothing like that from Mexico.
Now, look, Monty, we ran the stuff through the lab. We know it's high-grade heroin. We know all about it. Now, we want you to tell us where you've been getting it.
Well, you know how it is. You want to ask the impossible of me? My life wouldn't be worth a penny. You know how it is.
We handled you a year and a half ago, didn't we, Monty?
Yeah.
You're still around, aren't you?
Yeah, I did time, though.
Well, you knew that going in. You're going to do time this trip, too.
So don't shoot us that line, huh?
Well, you guys know how it is with us guys. I can't tell you anything.
No, it isn't that you can't. You just don't want to. Now, look, we didn't come up here to spend the time of day with you, Wilkins. This is the only time around. If you want to help us, you can help yourself at the same time. It's up to you.
You mean you can clear me on this? You can give me a break?
We didn't say that. We can't make any promises to you or give you any kind of a break. It's entirely up to you how you want us to put it down in our reports, cooperative or uncooperative.
Well, okay. You squared with me last time.
You helped us last time. We made a case.
But I'm not going to be able to help you very much.
Where you been getting it?
Well, I've only made a couple of buys on that good stuff. I just got it from some old mule I just happened to meet down there. Seemed to be pretty well loaded with the stuff.
Where'd you meet him?
Oh, down near 5th and Spring somewhere.
What's his name?
I never did know his name. I just knew that he was pushing the stuff. Some old mule, that's all.
Who's he pushing it for?
Now, you know they never tell us guys where they're getting it. You know how they do.
Yeah.
I never did talk to him very much. I did hear him say once he was getting his stuff from a new bunch of guys from the east. Said they were really going to open up this town. The way he talked, they're no small-time operators. I got enough out of it to know they're working out of the Plaza Royal Hotel. Never figured that, would you?
Anything else? Any names mentioned?
Yeah, I remember this old mule mentioned a couple names. I think he talked about somebody named Kirk and another guy called Smith. Now, you understand, this guy was just talking. I don't know how they fit in or what the connections are.
Yeah, we understand. Where can we get a hold of this old mule?
Well, I don't know where he's at.
How do you get a hold of him when you want to make a buy?
I just run into him, that's all. Down around Spring Street. You know, just around. The last time I was down, I couldn't find him.
Is that all of it, Monty? All you can tell us?
Well, I don't know too much anyway. You know how it is. I couldn't tell you any more. That's all I know.
All right, let's get on to this 510 if that's all you got.
That's everything I got. Hope you fellas will write me up okay. I think I helped you quite a bit, haven't I? One of the best hotels in town, Plaza Royal. Never would have figured that, would you?
Maybe.
I've told you quite a lot. The rest ought to be easy.
No, you're wrong there, Monty.
Why?
You haven't told us the name of your mule. You haven't told us where we could find him. You haven't made it so easy.
That's all I have. I've told you a lot.
Yeah, there's a lot you didn't tell. We continued our interrogation of Monty Wilkins. He refused to divulge any further information. What he had told us, together with information already compiled, seemed to check out. For the past 7 months, we'd been trying to localize the operations of what had come to be regarded as a well-running distribution center for high-grade heroin. We knew of the existence of this distribution point through the various users that had been picked up almost daily. These users would have in their possession quantities of high-grade narcotics. Unlike the cheaper, lower-grade quality common in the southwest part of the country, this type of heroin was more common to the eastern section of the United States. We had believed the local distribution point to be somewhere in our metropolitan downtown area. The information gained from Monty Wilkins had strengthened this theory. 10:25 a.m., we met with Francis Kearney, captain of the Narcotics Division.
Plaza Royal Hotel, what do you think?
Well, we've figured what we were looking for could be in that area, but we've never put our finger on that hotel.
How do you figure on working it?
Well, driving back from the jail, Ben and I were just kicking it around. Skipper, what do you think about putting a man in that hotel?
Anything's a great deal better than we're doing now, but I don't know.
Well, I'd like to give it a try.
You sure like a crack at it, Skipper?
You know how I feel about these kind of assignments. One man working inside, one outside. Brings the element of danger up kind of high.
Well, we know it's not going to be easy, but it looks like a good bet.
Sometimes these things are, sometimes they're not. You know what kind of a bunch they got to be. Been running their racket just about as smooth as it can be run. You know the kind of a risk a man would have to take if he tried to make contact with any of them.
Well, we think it's about the quickest way to get to them.
Well, maybe it might be worth it. You got any ideas how you'd like to work it?
There's just one thing. We haven't come to any decision who's going in and who isn't.
Well, I think I ought to be the one to work it from the inside of the hotel with Ben working outside as a contact.
I don't know why we can't just turn that around. Last time you had the rough end.
Joe, you just got back from your vacation about 3 weeks ago, didn't you?
Yeah, that's right.
Didn't you stay down in Arizona? Phoenix, wasn't it?
Yeah.
You know the town very well?
Oh, we got some relatives down there, yeah.
If they started asking you any questions about Phoenix, you could fill them in, huh?
I think so.
That's probably the best way to settle it, Romero. Friday here will be in a better position knowing a little about Phoenix.
I don't see how you figured that way. I went on my vacation, too. Columbus, Ohio.
Well, because of the type of stuff that's been coming in, don't you think it'd be a little safer bet to have our men come from somewhere out this way rather than from the east?
Yeah, it makes sense. Well, you did it again, Joe. You beat me out.
All right, let's figure it this way. You're a local Phoenix hoodlum. Things got too hot for you down there, and you came up to L.A. to cool off.
Yeah.
How about Joe Edwards? How's that sound?
That sounds all right to me.
We'll get all the necessary cards, identification papers, and a few letters to carry around with you, all under the name Joe Edwards.
All right.
I think the best way to work it is for you to hop right down to Phoenix. When you get in town, check with Roberts. He's in narcotics town.
Yeah, I know him.
Have Roberts fill you in on what's been going on down there. Any of their current characters they've handled recently. Any that have been known to pass through, so you can talk about it freely.
Yeah, I understand.
Joe, when you check into the hotel down there, why don't you wire ahead up here to the Plaza Royal for reservations? Might be a good cover.
Yeah. A good thought. That's the way to handle it. You two have worked these things before. You know what to do. All the necessary precautions.
Well, how long do you figure out to lay over in Phoenix?
A couple days, maybe. Think that's long enough for you to get filled in, what you'll need?
Oh, yeah, that's fine. Well, I'll go home and get packed. I'll start on it first thing in the morning. Huh?
All right. Romero will stand by at all times, day and night, while you're on this thing. You know enough to call if things get tight.
Sure.
As soon as you get in from Phoenix and get located at the Plaza Royal, get in touch so we'll know which way to move.
Right. Anything else?
Well, we want to break this thing, but we don't want to do it at the risk of a life. So if it starts getting warm, check out.
Okay.
I still don't like sending anybody on something like this, but it's got to be done. We don't know enough about it. We don't know how many are in the gang. We don't know what kind of a bunch they are, so be careful.
I will.
If you're not and I hear about it, this will be your last assignment like this.
Yeah.
If I don't hear about it, well, you figure it.
Yeah, either way I lose. I went over to the photo room at the crime lab and picked up the identification papers that had been made out in the name of Joe Edwards. I went home and removed all Los Angeles labels from the clothing that I was to take with me to Phoenix, Arizona. I removed all my personal identification and Los Angeles Police Department credentials. I left my service revolver home and borrowed a .38 automatic from Ben. I packed it in my suitcase. The crime lab also furnished me with a package or a bindle made to resemble the usual form in which a person would carry heroin. I packed this in my suitcase. Before my departure, Ben and I went over the proposed plan as best we could. I was to arrive from Phoenix under the assumed name of Joe Edwards. I would register at the Plaza Royal Hotel in downtown Los Angeles and attempt to make arrangements to participate in a narcotics buy for the purpose of gaining sufficient evidence to apprehend the narcotics ring. I was to keep Ben informed as best I could of my progress. As outlined by Captain Kearney, I arrived in Phoenix and contacted Sergeant Roberts at the Detective Bureau down there. He furnished me with all the necessary information and assisted me in acquiring local Phoenix clothing store labels to have sewn in my clothing. I obtained everything possible to make it appear that I was a long-time resident of Phoenix, Arizona. Several dummy hotel bills were made up for me to make it look as if I'd lived there for a period of time. I was furnished with an Arizona driver's license, a membership in the local social club, and a voter's registration stub. These were all packed in my suitcase. October 9th, 10 a.m., I arrived at the Plaza Royal Hotel, the front desk.
Yes, sir?
My name's Edwards. I'm in from Phoenix. Did you get my wire?
One moment, sir. Yes, sir. Joe Edwards?
Yeah, that's right.
Would you sign the register, please?
Yeah, all right.
Thank you. Bart?
Yes, sir.
Would you show this gentleman to room 211, please?
Yes, sir. This way, please.
All right, thank you.
Go ahead, sir.
Thank you.
2, please. Not very nice weather to arrive in Los Angeles, is it, sir?
No, not too good.
I see by the stickers on your bag you've been through Arizona.
Yeah, that's right.
Must be nice weather down there, huh?
Yeah, it's all right.
This way, sir.
Thank you.
Let me open a window for you, sir. A little fresh air in here.
All right. Okay. Thanks. Here you go.
Thank you very much, sir. Help you with your bags?
Yeah, all right.
Oh, I'm sorry, sir. Something dropped out on the floor here.
You better let me have that.
Sorry. Very sorry that happened.
That's all right.
Mr. Edwards, while you're in town here, if there's anything I can do for you, don't hesitate to let me know.
Yeah, okay.
I couldn't help but notice that little package there that I dropped.
Yeah.
Well, like I say, I know my way around here in this town. If you need anything, anything at all, sir.
I'll tell you what. Now, here's $5. You never saw anything fall out of my bag there, right?
Anything you say, sir.
Okay. Thanks a lot. See you later, huh?
Yes, sir. Anything else, sir?
No, that'll be all.
You remember what I told you, sir?
Yeah, I was just going to say the same thing to you. I couldn't be sure, but it looked like I'd been lucky right from the start. The bellboy at the Plaza Royal Hotel. I didn't know if I could consider this an opening contact or not, but he seemed to show more than a passing interest in the bundle of narcotics that he had seen fall from my suitcase. I didn't feel it was the right time to press the issue any further with the bellhop, but I figured I'd wait and leave the next move up to whoever he might have been working for. During the next 3 days, nothing happened. I tried, without appearing to be too bold, to arouse some interest, but without success. October 13th, my 5th day at the Plaza Royal Hotel, 6 p.m. I went in the bar off the main lobby.
I beg your pardon?
Yeah.
Kirk Harding's my name. I noticed you here in the bar the last couple of nights. You up here to buy a little, or are you selling?
I don't believe I follow you, Harding.
Look, boy, we've had you tabbed since that first day you hit town, October 9th. We haven't been out here too long ourselves. We're in business, too. Same business you're in.
Well, I don't know what kind of business you think I'm in, but you got it figured wrong, mister.
You know, this entire matter would work out much better for you in the long run if you'd level with me. You're just going to make it tough on yourself this way, Edwards.
Well, I'm sorry. You lost me way back somewhere.
All right, let's do it the hard way. You're up here from Phoenix. We know you've got some stuff with you. We know you're not a user. You're a member of the social club down there. You're a registered voter.
Well, you've been working real hard, haven't you?
Well, there's more. You got 2 pieces of luggage. You're carrying a .38 automatic.
Any more?
Yeah. There's a telegram from a friend of mine down in Phoenix.
Yeah?
We know all about you, mister.
You are listening to Dragnet, authentic cases from official police files. Now, let's look at our Fatima files.
Listed under L. Lovett. Vice Admiral Leland P. Lovett, United States Navy retired. He says,
I smoked Fatimas when I was a midshipman. I still do, because they have a better flavor and aroma. Fatima is easily the best of all long cigarettes.
Friends, more smokers now insist on king-size Fatimas than ever before, because in Fatima, the difference is quality.
Quality of tobaccos. The finest domestic and Turkish varieties, extra mild, superbly blended, to give you a much different, much better flavor and aroma.
Quality of manufacture. Smooth, round, perfect cigarettes, rolled in the finest paper money can buy. Manufactured in the newest and most modern of all cigarette factories.
Quality, even to the appearance of the bright, clean, golden yellow package, carefully wrapped and sealed to bring you Fatima's rich, fresh, extra mild flavor.
So, if you smoke a king-size cigarette, compare Fatima.
You'll find they now cost the same. But your first puff will tell you...
Ah, that's different.
Yes, in Fatima, the difference is quality. Buy Fatima. Smoke the quality king-size cigarette. Fatima. Best of all long cigarettes.
It was a tight moment as Kirk Harding fingered the telegram in the bar of the Plaza Royal Hotel. I'd spent many hours in consultation with Sergeant Roberts in Phoenix, Arizona, before undertaking this assignment. I felt sure that we hadn't overlooked anything that might lead to my true identity. Kirk Harding read the wire to me. It was from a man by the name of George Ferguson. He'd done some legwork for Harding and had not been able to furnish him with anything other than what had been found out in going over my room. I knew I'd found the contact that I was looking for. I told him that I was in the business of buying narcotics, that I was in Los Angeles for the purpose of making a prearranged narcotics buy with agents dealing in Mexican stuff. Harding immediately gave me a strong sales pitch, saying that he could furnish me with high-grade heroin fresh from the European market in quantity. At the end of the first week, I was introduced to Kirk Harding's 2 associates, another man called Smith, full name Horace L. Smith, and a woman by the name of Lucille Cosgrove. Ben had been unable to find records on any of the 3. For the next 3 weeks, we became more friendly. We went places together, spent a great deal of time together. Monday, November 15th.
Well, we've had a lot of fun the last few weeks, haven't we?
Yeah, there's no doubt about that, but I got to be getting back to Phoenix.
Well, now, don't get eager, Joe. You know how cagey you were. You made us wait. Preliminaries are over. This is the big buy for you or anybody else.
Yeah, I know all that, but when?
Just be patient. You'll have something to really set yourself up with down there.
Okay.
Oh, excuse me, Joe.
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, hi, Lucille.
Hi.
Hi, sweetie.
Hello, Joe.
Hi, Lucille. What's the matter, Smith? Don't you feel good?
I don't know. It's hotel food, I guess. I think I got an ulcer. My stomach's sore all the time.
Oh, that's too bad.
I don't know what it could be. Baking soda don't do any good anymore.
How about a drink? Joe?
Yeah, fine with me.
Lucille, you want to get some ice out of the kitchen, please?
Sure.
Skip me.
Smith, you ought to go see a doctor. You don't know for sure what's wrong with you. You might make it worse.
If I don't know what it is, how could a doctor?
I don't know. It works for everybody else. Might for you.
Hey, I can't get this ice tray out. Joe, would you give me a hand, please?
Yeah, sure. Okay, which one here?
I got the ice. Keep working on that other tray there. It's something to tell you.
Okay.
Listen, Joe, the big buys tonight.
You sure?
Yeah.
How about it, you two? You need any help?
No, that's all right, Kirk. It's coming along fine.
Joe, as soon as you show your money tonight, they're going to kill you.
How do you know?
Look, we don't have time to go into it. I know. You won't have a chance. They're going to kill you.
What are you doing? Waiting for him to freeze? Come on, how about the ice cream?
Oh, they're right here, Kirk. I'm sorry.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Okay, what do you want? Lucille? Joe?
Coke high's all right.
Yeah?
I'll make mine bourbon, a little water.
All right. Smith, you sure you don't want one?
No, can't do it.
Joe, before I mix them, I got something for you.
Yeah?
Smith tells me tonight's the night.
Well, that's good, but why didn't you tell me a little ahead of time? I got a date for tonight.
Well, I think you better break that one and keep this one, don't you?
Well, yeah, I do, but just wish you'd have told me a little sooner.
Well, there's the phone. You can take care of it.
Is it all right with you?
You know as much about this business as we do. Go ahead and use it as long as we can hear you.
Okay, fine. Just take a minute.
Want to sit here, Joe?
Oh, thanks, Smith. Yeah. Say, I wonder if you get my drink for me over there?
Sure.
She's probably going to be upset. I may need it, huh?
Romero talking.
Hi, honey. This is Joe.
Oh, yeah, Joe.
I'm sorry I won't be able to make it tonight, dear.
You can't talk, huh?
That's right, dear. No, I just can't get out of it.
I'll do the talking, Joe. Is it by tonight?
Yeah, well, it just came up all of a sudden.
Where do you know?
No, darling, I can't tell you where I'm going. You couldn't go along anyway.
Okay, we'll be with you 5 minutes from now all the way. Where are you now, at the hotel?
Well, that's the way it is, and I can't help it, that's all. Maybe we can get together later, huh?
We'll use one car, Joe. We'll stick as close as we can to you. One car ought to be safe, huh?
Well, that's better, honey. Now, that's the way I like to hear you talk. I'm sorry. And I'll see you later, huh?
We'll be with you.
Okay, dear.
Well, she still love you?
Yeah, she loves me. 15 minutes after I hung up, we went downstairs and got into a green Chrysler sedan. It was parked out in front of the hotel. I looked around. I didn't see Ben or any of our cars in sight. Smith drove, and Kirk and I got in the back seat. The woman, Lucille Cosgrove, remained at the hotel. I didn't know which of the two men was planning to kill me, but I felt sure Lucille Cosgrove told me the truth. Her information on the buy was right, and maybe this other was correct as well. We drove out Figueroa Street for about 16 miles. At this point, it became evident we were heading for the Los Angeles Harbor area.
You ever see a fog as thick as this, Joe?
No, never have.
Can't see 50 feet in front of me.
Yeah, well, just take it easy. Nobody's in a hurry.
That's right. Don't want to pile up anywhere.
Where are we going?
We're almost there.
This your car here? I've never seen this one before.
No, we rented it. Isn't that the way you operate?
Yeah, that's right. I just wondered if you played it as safe as I do.
We do.
I'm going to swing in this next alley up here, Kirk.
Somebody tailing us? Kill your lights.
Right. See anything out the back window?
Wait a minute. How'd they go?
How'd it look?
Two guys in the front seat. Could have been somebody. What do you think, Joe? How'd it look to you?
Well, whoever it was, we lost him anyway.
Yeah. Well, okay, let's go.
Look at that. Clear spot here in the fog. Don't see a soul anywhere.
It's fine.
We almost there now?
Yeah, just around the corner. This is a break, isn't it? Fog's clear right in here. All socked in back up there. Well, we're as safe as you'd want to be, huh?
Yeah, that's right.
This is it.
Over by the storage building?
Yeah, that's right. Come on, let's go. Over this way, Joe.
What's over there in that building?
We're not going inside, just over there in that alcove.
All right, this is it, Joe. Let's see the money.
Oh, wait till I see the stuff, huh?
You don't trust anybody, do you?
What are you trying to prove?
Well, I didn't like what he said.
You're not going to like what I got to say either. Freeze, mister.
Drop it, you!
Watch it, Ben! He ducked in this alcove.
Yeah.
Oh! Take care of that one there.
All right, easy, huh?
Yeah, you see him?
No, it's too dark. There he is.
That's enough! I'm coming on!
All right, throw your gun out ahead of you.
He's not going to throw that gun out, Joe. Watch it.
Come on. There's his gun.
Yeah, I got it.
You want to shake him down?
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah.
On your feet. Where'd you get hit?
I sure. Let me see. You're all right. Just grazed you.
You're a cop, aren't you?
Yeah, that's right. Now, come on, let's go.
Where's the stuff?
On the back seat in my car. Now, you tell me something. Why'd you slug Smith?
I just wanted something I knew you'd never give me.
What's that?
An even chance.
The story you have just heard was true. Only the names were changed to protect the innocent.
On January 4th, trial was held in Superior Court, Department 81, City and County of Los Angeles, State of California. In a moment, the results of that trial.
And now, here is our star, Jack Webb.
Thank you. Friends, let's compare Fatima with any other long cigarette. Now, Fatimas are the same length, 85 millimeters. Fatima has the same circumference, 1 1/64 inches around. And Fatima filters the smoke exactly the same long distance as other king-size cigarettes. But in Fatima, the difference is quality. You get extra mildness, a different, much better flavor and aroma. That's right. Fatima gives you all the advantages of extra length plus Fatima quality, which no other king-size cigarette has. Tomorrow, buy Fatima.
All three suspects, Kirk Arthur Harding, Horace L. Smith, and Lucille Marie Cosgrove, were convicted for violation of the State Narcotics Act, a felony. Harding and Smith were convicted on one count of attempt to commit murder. They are now serving their terms as prescribed by law in the state penitentiaries. You have just heard Dragnet, a series of authentic cases from official files. Technical advice comes from the Office of Chief of Police W.H. Parker, Los Angeles Police Department.
Fatima Cigarettes, best of all long cigarettes, has brought you Dragnet portions transcribed from Los Angeles.
Stay tuned for Counter Spy, next over most NBC stations.
The American Broadcasting Company presents Pat Novak For Hire.
Sure, I'm Pat Novak. For Hire. Down on the San Francisco waterfront, the only use they have for sentiment is to pick your pocket while you're saluting the flag. If you hang out around there as long as I have, you'll even learn to sleep with one hand on the cash box. So I wasn't expecting any cascade of lilies when Joe Adams drove down to Pier 19. He'd phoned that he was in a hurry and would stop by and pick me up in his car. He said he had a quick job for me to do. That was about all I knew about him. I wasn't worried about that either. In my work, you get used to odd-shaped hires, including those from guys who looked like a bundle of twigs with shoes on and drove like they owned the keys to the city.
Novak, this is a soft buck. All you gotta do is watch the joint.
If you keep driving through red lights like that, we'll both end up looking at the ceiling in the morgue.
So I disagree with the traffic department. Look, the joint's in North Beach, Vallejo Street. Here's the number. I wrote it down.
So you can read and write.
What do you mean?
What's the pitch? You afraid of mice?
No, and there's no extra cards in this deck.
Yeah? So far, it makes about as much sense as an 8-fingered glove.
Look, I have to meet a guy in Los Angeles. I haven't much time to make my plane. I lost my keys, so I had to bust in the door to get into my place. It was too late to get a locksmith. So I want you to watch until I get back tomorrow. Is that hard?
The way you're driving, breathing's hard.
You scare easy.
I scare plenty. I like to live.
Give me a good reason.
You wouldn't understand. You expect visitors tonight?
Look, I've got some stuff that I'd like to see around when I get back. And stop trying to read between the lines in this deal. It's all in the black type.
You can say that about a funeral speech.
You still worried about the way I drive?
No. Only why take a plane when this is faster?
Okay, if you can stop shaking long enough to walk, you can start here.
On the way back, I'll look for your brains.
Grab a cab. I'll pick up the check for it. And don't knock. Go right in. I'll be seeing you.
Gladly in 4 pieces.
And keep awake, will you? Some of my neighbors would steal the handle off a blind man's cup.
Don't worry. I'll keep both eyes open.
You sound like you're saying one thing and thinking something else.
About keeping awake?
Yeah, what's worrying you, ghost?
I'm not buying this show the way you're staging it. Something sour in the deal. Yeah, that's all right, too. Just as long as you don't get any fancy ideas of making me the patsy.
Boy, you do scare easy.
Yeah, and I pay off bum debts, too.
Now I'm getting scared. So long, sucker.
Adam's joint turns out to be one of those walk-up flats. A nice wooden place that made you want to run for the firebox every time someone dropped a cigarette ash on the floor. The door was smashed around the lock all right, and the lights were out. When I found the switch and began to look around, it showed 4 rooms full of fancy furniture and decorations that made you wonder about Adam's private life. After I found out where the whiskey was located and pried 3 cushions loose from the easy chair, I looked around for something to do. There was a bookcase full of mystery stories and this and that. I passed the mysteries up without studying them. I knew that in every one of them the detective would come out on top. Yet I knew 4 private eyes who'd started out on just such trails and ended up in urns in Cypress Lawn. There was one book with a purple cover called Reckless Moonlight, with pictures. I was on page 30 with pictures when I was interrupted. They were too manly to make me glad. I jumped across the room and switched off the lights, and I stood just inside the door and waited. He didn't even knock. He came right in. From the back, he looked big enough to be a 10-ton trailer. He was fumbling in his pocket when I broke up the act. I chill up on the pocket pick, and this is the gun on your back. If you shoot, you'll hit a policeman's badge. Think that over. There's housebreaking a sideline with you, Hellman. I'd know that voice in a nightmare. And they blame gangsters for the crime wave. They don't know where to look. Just stand still, sweetheart, till I get my flash working. You want to borrow some burglar tools? I'll settle for some better manners right now. Where I come from, better manners started with knocking before you come cramming through a door. Where you came from, they didn't have doors. Just a damp rock. What's the idea of turning out the lights? How could I tell who was coming? You don't smell that bad. Do you tell me why you're here, or do I bounce it out of you? Don't worry. You can't parlay it into anything to tell a judge. A guy named Adams lives here. He had to get in a hurry, broke the lock, grabbed some things, and headed for the airport. He hired me to watch the place till he gets back tomorrow. He hired a bulldog to watch his steak? You don't like this story, huh? What do you want, mad musicians? You're mad enough without music. Tell me more. That's all there is till you started whipping in the fancy trimming. I can see that and raise it without even string. You couldn't raise a rumpus on New Year's Eve. No? And how about the murder of Thomas Van Dyke? I must have looked surprised. Hellman was pleased and mysterious. He kept prowling around the house, looking at books, up on shelves and behind the furniture like he expected to find Van Dyke's body there. In the meantime, he filled me in on the case. Van Dyke had been a heavy money operator in show business, sports promotions, and such. He ran around with the mink and diamond crowd and did enough charity work on the side to build up a reputation for being a pillar of the community. Everyone was surprised when he turned up dead, including the police. Someone had shot him without leaving any signature on the job. The case had remained unsolved for almost a year. Of course, at the speed Hellman thought, he might have just found out about it. Now he was passing out hints the thing had grown hot again.
I was checking through the evidence and file, and I ran across something with Miss.
Yeah, grand piano.
Some stuff in a diary. Have you been messing around in these books?
Is that why you're here? To borrow a book?
The diary didn't make any sense at the time of the death, but we turned up a vag the other day who worked with Van Dyke and some of his underground connections.
And now Van Dyke's the king of the thieves.
Something like that. I put together the stuff this vag told us with some of the things in the diary, and it began to look like pay dirt. There's a book missing.
Yeah, the Rover Boys, it's over your head, Hellman.
Death in Herald Square, it's called. And don't play that innocent routine too hard or you'll tire it out.
You're making about as much sense as a pig in a candy store.
The vag tied this address into one of the clues. How do you like them apples?
I wouldn't buy them at 10 cents a crate.
Look, Bright Eyes, I don't like waterfront punks sticking their guns in my back in the dark. I don't like you messing in this racket.
Are you unhappy, nervous, run down?
I want you to keep your nose out of this scamper, Novak. And if you think that's just a lot of breath, try me.
Why should I leave this house just because you're having a nervous decline?
Don't think I'm buying that routine about some guy hiring you to watch his clothes while they went flying. You got a lead in this murder, and you're trying to track it down.
How much is the reward again?
$10,000. Who said anything about a reward?
Yeah, so that's why you're nervous.
Keep out of this, Novak. I'm warning you.
You're hot for the payoff. I should have known you wouldn't get up off your fat...
I'm giving you one more chance to get out, Novak.
I was hired to do a job, Hellman, remember?
All right, wise guy. Come on. Open the closet.
Your nose is itching. Open it yourself.
Okay, Novak. See any men's clothes in there?
Not in this year's style.
Snap it up, Novak. Haven't you remembered by now that Joe Adams was the girl?
All right, so the guy dealt me a joker. I don't mean I'm trying to crash your party.
The dame Liz here is named Dodo Sandberg, and she ain't lonely. But you're going to be Novak, and soon.
Dodo Sandberg.
Maybe she'll come to see you in jail.
You're not booking me, Hellman.
I told you to stay out of this, Novak.
You got nothing on me but a nervous twitch because you think I might beat you to that reward.
I got nothing on you, except housebreaking. Come on down to the station.
Deal me out.
You want to argue? Hey, who turned out the lights?
I'm getting to like that Adams or somebody.
Stand where you are, Novak.
Sorry, Hellman, I just remembered the date. With $10,000. Hellman chased me, but the way he's built, he didn't have a prayer. He hit the street, doubled around a couple of corners. I couldn't even hear him. When I got back my breath, I walked along for a while and tried to put what I had together. Any way I looked at it, one thing was clear. Joe Adams had played me for a country boy in some setup that had a whole lot more in it than showed on the table. I needed to see Adams to square that deal, but something Hellman told me seemed even more important. I liked the idea of trying my chances of cutting into that $10,000 reward for Van Dyke's death. All I had to work on was a dame called Dodo Sandberg and a book called Death in Herald Square. I looked at the clock and thought I still had time to make it to the main library before it closed for the night, so I headed that way. When I got in the place at the Civic Center, it took the librarians quite a bit of scrambling around to get the book, but they finally turned it up just before closing time. I tucked it under my arm and started out of the place when the dame fell in step beside me. A nice set of curves tucked away in one of those new-style dresses with so many extra built-in bumps it looked like a sack of potatoes.
Didn't I meet you in Scarsdale?
The shy type.
I used to be. I outgrew it.
Keep right on growing somewhere else.
You have to be that way?
My hobby's books.
I noticed. That's why I wanted to meet you. I like the books you choose.
Before I pick that up, what's your name?
Dodo Sandberg. Watch out for the stairs.
So you're after the book, too?
I didn't say that.
I know. It's my fascinating personality.
A very good friend of mine wrote that book.
Does my reading it strain your eyes or something?
It's very interesting. Now let's talk about you.
You get around, don't you?
What do you mean by that?
What became of Joe Adams?
That's a question for his mother to worry about, Patsy.
I don't mind helping her.
Oh, do they have to be mothers?
You need help like Midas needs dough.
There's help and help. What if a girl's lonely?
You aren't built for the job. Let's get back to Adams and the book.
Adams is no problem. He lives at the Standard Hotel on Polk Street.
Careless, isn't he, to forget that?
And how did you suddenly get a yen to read Death in Herald Square?
A cop told me about it. Why?
Because there's a better book on the same subject. It's called Death Waits Ahead.
Am I supposed to turn that into some kind of warning?
It could be. And here's a sample of what I mean. She worked fast and smooth as a piston.
There was some kind of judo, I guess. I was too busy falling to be sure. The stairs didn't help any. By the time I picked myself up, she was out of sight. And so was the book. I sat there a while and thought about women. When I went back to the library desk, I didn't buy me anything. Seems they only had one copy of the book. It wasn't popular, they said. When I seemed anxious about getting a copy, they sent me to a bookstore on 3rd Street, which stayed open late. By the time I got there was nobody in the place except one of the hired help looking bored by the cash register. I asked him for the book, and he quit looking bored right away. He began to look nervous. He said he didn't have the book. He'd never heard of it, and they were closing anyway. Whatever the guy was, he didn't have a card in the Actors Union. I guess Crowley realized that as soon as I did. When I said I'd look around anyway, a curtain twitched in the back of the place, and he came out. A big guy with a nasty disposition.
You could do better than that.
Did someone send you to tell me how to live?
You're looking for death in Herald Square?
The word's all over town.
You ought to be out eating something instead of nosing around where you're not wanted. You ever heard of the prisoner eating a hearty breakfast?
That's a warning. You're third in line.
Yeah? Who else is interested?
A cop and a dame. You got to team up and work it into 3-part harmony.
When they warned you, they were just trying to act like bad news. When I warn you, it's certified.
You don't look 8 feet tall. Put some meat on your skeleton.
My name's Pete Crowley. Did you ever hear of me?
I must read the wrong funny papers.
You got connections around the city.
You can say that about a sewer pipe. Something's making you twitch. Trot it out where I can see it.
Dodo Sandberg tells me you got your nose up in the air over the Van Dyke killing.
Does that worry you?
I'm hiding right now in Mexico.
What's the death's head routine for?
Before you run to the cops with a finger, listen carefully. I picked up Van Dyke's rackets when he dropped them. They pay off very nicely. I like the way they're moving along. I don't want you or any of the eager beavers from the Kearney Street station to nose over the apple cart.
I came here for a book. You don't look like it.
Also, I don't like anybody bothering Dodo. And that includes sailor salesmen and smart guys looking for a new home.
If she doesn't want anybody ringing her bell, tell her to take the signs out of her windows.
You look like a fairly bright boy. Take a tip. Fade out of this scramble while you're still mobile.
And if I don't?
Stick around and I'll show you my muscles.
I'd rather look at Dodo's.
2 of my muscles used to be rustlers. Think it over.
It began to look more and more like trouble, doubled in spades. I began to get the feeling if I planned to sit in the game anymore, it was time to start counting up the cards and seeing how the mirrors were placed. But the best guy for that sort of work was an old alcoholic friend of mine called Jocko Madigan. Jocko was a one-time doctor around town who gave up his practice when he learned that alcohol made him feel better even when he wasn't sick. Finding him was like taking a phone survey of the downtown bars. I pitched a strike at the 5th one I tried. At first, he didn't like the idea of moving, but when I told him I was phoning from a 3rd Street bar, he said he'd hop a cab. He came in while I was working on my second drink.
Patsy, my boy, I'm glad to see you, both of you. Or is that only 2 heads?
I could use 2.
That's an involved way of saying you're in trouble. Goodbye.
Listen, Jocko, I got my foot in the door of a deal that might pay off big.
All you've got your foot in is a dirty shoe, Patsy, and with your usual luck, you'll probably end up with Hellman stepping on it.
He stepped on it already.
Oh, he did? Good. How is the old walrus anyway?
That's what I've been trying to tell you. I bounced into him tonight, and he was hot on the trail of the men who knocked off Van Dyke a year ago.
They're safe. Hellman couldn't put his finger on a fire eater in a darkened room.
What do you know about a book called Death in Herald Square?
What do you know about the home life of the Macrocephalus pinebombix? As I was saying before thirst choked me off, some people collect seashells, some raise dogs, some go after goldfish or matchbox covers or pretty women, but not Patsy Novak. Oh, no. Patsy's different. Patsy wants to collect murders.
Did you ever hear of the book?
What book? You're talking too fast.
Death in Herald Square. Van Dyke's murder ties into it somehow.
Talk sense, Patsy. Things are blurred enough without you jabbering nonsense.
Nonsense? I'm not on the right trail. Why have I been warned off 3 times already, including a threat from Pete Crowley?
Are you asking me?
Look, Jocko, there's $10,000 reward for the murderer.
Well, why didn't you tell me that 10 minutes ago and avoid all this verbiage?
Well, if you'd get your nose out of that whiskey bottle, you...
Skip the greetings, son. Let's get on to the money matters. What do you want me to do?
It's an old book. You know where to find us. I tried the library, but a dame called Dodo grabbed the dice.
I know just how to get it. A friend of mine in the Panhandle has a small bookstore and home distillery.
Listen, there's a Joe Adams fits in there somewhere. See what you can get on him, will you?
Do go on, you fascinate me.
Now, 2 other people were nervous about me since the thing broke. One is Crowley and the other is Dodo Sandberg. It seems to be tied to Crowley somehow. Can you get a check on them for me?
For $10,000, I can get a count on the fillings in their teeth. Is this Dodo Sandberg pretty?
Why?
I want to know where you'll be in case I have to phone. So long, lover.
I paid for Jocko's drinks and went out to the Standard Hotel. The room clerk gave me Joe Adams' number. He looked a little worried when he told me, but that could have been about a new boss or an old girlfriend. It could have, but it wasn't. Adams' room was on the 4th floor, and when I reached there in the elevator, Hellman almost ran over me trying to get in the cage. He was a nice salmon pink and panting like a bloodhound on a deer trail. He had a gun in one fat hand, a mouthful of verbs and adjectives.
Every time I turn a corner...
Who are you expecting, Princess Elizabeth?
Where did he go?
You better shift to the overdrive. You're racing your motor.
Where's Adams, Novak?
Don't start testing your muscles on me, Hellman. You must think I'm your wife.
This ain't playland, Novak. Adams just left his room. Where is he?
I'm not in the mood for company, Hellman.
You're going to talk. You're going to talk plenty.
What's all the pushing around about?
Don't pretend you're the country boy. You don't know what's going on.
Back up a bit and fill me in.
Adams told me he hired you to knock me off.
Yeah, and you believed it,
I know you don't work that way. But I wouldn't put it beyond you to pretend to go along with the proposition as long as you could milk a few dollars out of Adams.
Well, with your head, it's a wonder you don't believe it that I did it.
With my head, I remember that you were waiting in a darkened apartment with a gun when I came in. That you ran out on me, and that you show up now just when Joe Adams is escaping.
You put 2 and 2 together and get 22.
You're just a sort of a lousy conniving...
What about Adams? Is he the turkey that knocked off Van Dyke?
He got away when I started to dial the phone to call the wagon. I thought I told you to forget the Van Dyke murder.
You're full of tell, Hellman. Is Adams the one?
Pin this into your hat, Novak. I'm closing in on the one who did it, and I don't need you to help with the net.
Like you closed in on Adams?
Just let me stumble over you once more before I close this up, and I'll bet my badge I'll put you where you'll stand still.
And it could be Adams.
Do you hear what I said?
Yeah. I heard prices are going down, too, but I haven't noticed it.
I can fix that. You're going to a place where the feet is on the house.
Don't give me any more of that jail talk, Hellman, till you're ready to come in with some papers.
All I need to put you in a cage is a key. Let's go. I'll get him. You stay where you are, Novak.
He must think I'm a Boy Scout. That was screwy. That was twice Hellman had tried to jail me, and twice someone had fixed a breakaway. Any way you looked at that, it still meant somebody wanted me in circulation for some reason. Unless you believed in good fairies, the reason wouldn't be nice. If I guessed hard, I could make it relate somehow to the Van Dyke killing. But all I had for a trail on that was 3 people being nervous in a hard-to-get mystery book. From the way Adams saved me from Hellman, he looked like a good man to know more about, and fast. I knew that after the gun work in the hotel, I'd have to find him somewhere else. The only other lead I had on him was through Dodo. I headed back to her place on Vallejo Street. When she opened the door, she looked like something to fit in a fireplace ad. She was wearing a negligee thin enough to roll up and stuff in a pipe.
You bounced back fast.
You grow on me.
What do you want?
Van Dyke's murderer.
Who's Van Dyke?
You're a stranger in town. You never heard of him.
Come on in. I'm having coffee. Think you can risk drinking some with arsenic and all?
I got a strong stomach.
Oh, nice-looking guy. You seem healthy. Why do you want to change?
Your boy Adams likes to play tricks. If I didn't try to pay him off for the hot foot he gave me, he might feel neglected.
Adams is just a flock of nerves looking for some place to break down. Forget him.
He tried to put me on a spot where I'd end up killing a cop. The gag laid an egg. Nobody's laughing.
Cream in your coffee?
Yeah. I'm still guessing why he did it unless he killed Van Dyke.
Sugar?
Look, he didn't just pick this house out of the phone book. That puts you in line to do some explaining.
I wouldn't explain how to turn over in bed until I've had a cup of coffee.
You aren't shaken where it shows.
Are you telling me how to live?
I'd have to start with the way you say goodbye on stairways. You didn't learn that trick in a finishing school.
It didn't finish you, but that's just because you're durable.
So's my longing for Adams. Where can I find him?
I told you Adams don't mean anything. He just acts busy. He's like a fly, batting his wings off and ending up in the same place.
What place? Do I twist it out of you?
That book, Death in Herald Square. Did you find another copy?
That's for tomorrow. Tonight it's Adams.
You're wasting your time chasing Adams. Concentrate on the book.
I'm spreading my fire. How do I know that book isn't just a come-on to get me off the trail?
In the book, there was a millionaire businessman just like Van Dyke. He had connections in the rackets, just like Van Dyke. He had a partner, just like Van Dyke.
When do I start panting?
Yes, you do. It'll be from running from the cops. That's all I'm giving you about the book.
I'll get the rest when I pick one up tomorrow.
You'll have a tough time doing that, Novak. The bookstores are all out of copies.
You collected them all?
It wasn't hard. A car, a telephone, little bustling about.
You're real sharp, Crowley. Till you start looking at a map.
I have friends across the bay. You might try Sacramento or Los Angeles, but that would take some time, wouldn't it?
I guess time don't count after tomorrow.
Not with what you know, sonny boy. Am I being confusing?
You make a good try.
Well, this won't confuse you. I thought I told you I didn't like Dodo to be bothered.
She needs protection like J. Edgar Hoover.
And didn't I warn you off this caper?
Leave him alone, Crowley. He's harmless. Are you all done in the other room?
Yeah.
Come on, Novak. I want to make you a little present. There are the books you've been looking for, with only a few pages missing.
Yeah, Novak, you can have them. All 50 of them.
They're a little scarred, baby, but they'd still make a nice gift. Send them to your friends for Christmas.
If any of them can read.
You sound like you're ringing down a curtain.
That's right. After tonight, you just keep right on guessing.
About who killed Van Dyke?
No, baby. About how you're going to prove anything.
Mind if we sort of run along now? As soon as the lady gets dressed?
After they'd gone, I went through the books. Page 187 was torn out of each one of them. I felt like a man in an earthquake. Something told me to run, but I didn't know where to go. Trying to make sense out of what I knew was like trying to put together a drop cake. I wandered around the place till I found a drink. I was just lifting the glass when the telephone rang. Yeah?
Who's ahead, you or the moral squad?
Everybody's out in front of me, including Dodo and Crowley. Adams is out of sight.
You aren't alone.
Dodo and Crowley just went out the door. I said goodbye to them and $10,000.
Was Crowley that big, or was it the girl?
Crowley isn't worried, neither is Dodo.
That leaves Adams. Oh, I ran down that book of yours.
Crowley said he bought every copy in town.
Every copy in the bookstores. My friend remembered where he'd sold one. My friend with the still. We borrowed it. Oh, by the way, Van Dyke wrote the book.
Yeah? What's on page 187?
Let's see now. Yes, a description of Van Dyke's double life. On page 187 is a description of the front man, the gangster. Bad writing job. No wonder it didn't sell.
Who does it fit?
It doesn't fit anyone, Patsy. He only said that the person had a star tattooed on his chest.
It's a horse.
Now all you've got to do is to get them in a game of strip poker.
Get them. They're all gone.
It's still a good idea, especially if Dodo sat in. So long, lover.
Give me Hellman.
Inspector Hellman speaking.
I got your killer for you.
That's that. Who's this? Novak?
Yeah. And don't start bubbling about my nose in your business.
Business is picking up.
You get Adams?
Adams? That's good. No, Novak. My stool pigeon got it. That fag I was telling you about.
That leaves you the only one knowing.
$10,000 worth. Don't think I'm coming after you, baby. You can stay there and rot.
So far, I feel healthy.
You think you can drag me off the trail after you by this phony phone call?
I know who did it.
Oh, no, you don't, Novak, but I do.
Yeah, fill it in.
I just got a phone tip where they're hanging out.
So they're sending out invitations.
I'll even tell you where they are. It's at the beach near a shooting gallery. I've got a siren in my car. Let's see you beat me out there. It's the first gallery below the ballroom.
Look, Hellman, you're the only guy alive who knows the whole story. What if this is a gag?
Oh, no, Novak. I'm not biting on any of your phony tricks.
But listen.
Save your breath to sob with when you see me pick up that nice fat check.
I thought a while, and suddenly the thing fell together like a winning poker hand. As soon as I saw it, I started running for my car. I don't know how it happened, but I beat them out there. I went along the bridge arterials. And they're widened fast. By stealing a flock of red lights and nicking the paint off a couple of fenders, I was out through the Presidio and over to Golden Gate Park in no time at all. When I hit the beach, it was foggy and empty. There was only one guy in the shooting gallery. When I got up near him, it turned out to be Crowley. He had a rifle in his hand. And he saw me first, down the barrel of the gun.
Don't back up, Novak. Come on in. You were looking for Adams, weren't you?
I was looking for a lot of things.
He's here behind the counter. Look, on the floor.
Did you kill him? Those bullet holes could be 22s.
Yeah, I killed him. Just as I'll kill you if you got any fancy ideas like trying to grab a gun.
What are you saving me for, Christmas?
Yeah, you dress up the joint. I want Hellman to walk into the trap just like you did. That's why I'm shooting at the targets. Like this. Bullseye. I'm good.
You'll have to be good to get away with killing a cop.
I hired Adams to do it. He thought he'd get smart and frame you into the rep. That's why he hired you.
Did he expect me to kill Hellman that night?
Well, that's one of his bright ideas. He's full of bright ideas. Or he was. If he hadn't been so smart, he'd still be breeding. It's really very simple. Hellman got on the trail. And he was the only one in town who knew there was a trail, so he had to be killed.
He ain't dead yet. You're betting a 22 against a police special.
I'm live bait. You ought to see the gun Dodo has in the car.
You're gonna dry gulch him, huh?
He'll be watching me, and I'll be watching you. Let's see you beat that hand.
You're forgetting the books.
We're forgetting nothing. The books don't mean anything unless you put it together with what Hellman knows. Hellman and his stool pigeon. Stool's dead. And here comes Hellman. Adams thought of everything, including mirrors.
You thought of everything. Except a quarter.
What for?
To pay for the reload on that gun. Now, if these other guns are only loaded. Hi, you win a cigar, Hellman. You got her.
She'd have had me if you didn't spray the windshield. What was the deal?
While you were creeping up on Crowley, Dodo was going to pat you on the back.
Crowley? Where's Adams?
He quit the game. Crowley helped him.
Come on. Crowley's coming through.
Don't worry. He won't like these odds.
What odds?
38 to 22. It wasn't much of a trial. Crowley got the gas chamber. I got $10,000. The tax collector took half. Jocko got some, and there was even some left for me. Oh, yeah, Dodo was the one who killed Van Dyke. She and Crowley were sort of a team, but she was the contact and the real boss. Hellman never knew how I was so sure. I never told him I thought it was a man, too. Till Jocko told me about the killer being tattooed. After that, it was easy. That negligee of Dodo's only left one thing to wonder about. That was how she kept warm.
And now, an important announcement for your listening pleasure. Next week, Pat Novak For Hire and all your KGO programs will come to you by the new power of 50,000 watts. Here's what that means for this program, for instance. Pat Novak will reach 1 million new listeners all the way from the state of Washington to the Mexican border. The new power and the new transmitter, the finest science can build or money can buy, will make KGO the most powerful station on the West Coast. This is ABC, the American Broadcasting Company.
The story you're about to hear is true. Only the names have been changed to protect the innocent.
Fatima Cigarettes, Best of all long cigarettes brings you Dragnet.
You're a detective sergeant. You're assigned to missing persons detail. A 10-year-old boy disappears from his home in a remote section of the city. 2 nights and 2 days pass. There's not a trace of the boy. Your job, find him.
Friends, compare Fatima with any other king-size cigarette. You'll find a world of difference. Yes, in Fatima, the difference is quality.
Quality of tobaccos. The finest domestic and Turkish varieties. Extra mild, superbly blended. To give you a much different, much better flavor and aroma.
Quality of manufacture. Smooth, round, perfect cigarettes. Rolled in the finest paper money can buy. Manufactured in the newest and most modern of all cigarette factories.
Quality. Even to the appearance of the bright, clean, gold and yellow package. Carefully wrapped and sealed to bring you Fatima's rich, fresh, extra mild flavor.
So compare Fatima yourself today.
You'll find Fatima's now cost the same as other long cigarettes, but your first puff will tell you,
ah, that's different.
Yes, in Fatima, the difference is quality. Buy Fatima.
Dragnet, the documented drama of an actual crime. For the next 30 minutes, in cooperation with the Los Angeles Police Department, you will travel step by step on the side of the law through an actual case transcribed from official police files. From beginning to end, from crime to punishment, Dragnet is the story of your police force in action.
It was Wednesday, August 4th. It was hot in Los Angeles. We were working the day watch out of Juvenile Bureau. My partner's Ben Romero. The boss is Inspector Bowling. My name's Freddie. We were on the way out from the office, and it was 2:25 p.m. when we got to Bowers Avenue, number 1218.
Yes.
Police officers, ma'am, we'd like to see Mr. Sherman.
Oh, certainly, officers. Won't you come in?
Thank you very much.
I'm Mrs. Keller from next door. I saw you around here yesterday.
Yes, ma'am.
Came over this morning to look after poor Mr. Sherman.
Yes, ma'am. Well, how's he feeling today?
Not too well. Fixed him some nice chicken broth for lunch, and then I helped him in his wheelchair and took him out in the backyard out in the sun. Good hot sun. It's wonderful for his legs. He has arthritis, you know.
Yes, so we understand. Wonder if we could talk to him, Miss Keller.
Oh, yes, I guess you have to. He's still out in the back sleeping in his chair last time I looked. Seemed ashamed to disturb him.
Well, he called us at the office, said he wanted to see us as soon as we could make it out here.
Was it about his grandson, Jimmy? They found him yet?
No, ma'am. Searching party's combing the area. There's still no trace of the boy.
Did any of the other officers who were out here covering the neighborhood talk to you, Miss Keller?
Oh, yes. There was Mr. Lorman, Detective Lorman.
Yes, ma'am.
I told him everything I knew about Jimmy's disappearance. It was right after dinner hour on Monday. It's about 6:30 last time I saw Jimmy.
I see.
I came out the side door to empty the garbage, and I saw Jimmy hiking up the side of the hill there, just in back of the house, all by himself. A nice boy.
As far as you know, Mrs. Keller, Jimmy is Mr. Sherman's only living relative.
That's right. His only relative, his only grandchild.
Mm-hmm.
Jimmy's mother and father were killed in an auto wreck. That was 3 or 4 years ago. Sherman's had a terrible lot of tragedy. Jimmy and his grandfather, they're the only ones left.
You can't think of any reason why the boy would want to leave his grandfather, can you?
None at all. Mr. Sherman's a wonderful man. Jimmy loved him, I knew that.
Mm-hmm.
Mrs. Keller! Mrs. Keller!
Oh, that's Mr. Sherman. He's awake. We can go through the house out the back here.
All right, ma'am.
This way.
Thank you. Go ahead, ma'am.
Yeah, okay.
Visitors for you, Mr. Sherman. How are you feeling?
All right, I suppose. Hello, Sergeant.
How are you, Mr.
Sherman?
What about the boy? Have you found him yet?
Well, nothing yet, Mr. Sherman. We've added more men to the searching party. We're doing everything we can.
Gone 2 nights and 2 days. Tell me the truth, Sergeant. What's happened to the boy?
Well, right now, we don't know any more about it than you do, sir, but that's no reason to give up hope.
You told us yourself yesterday that Jimmy's been missing once before. It turned out all right that time.
He wasn't gone for 2 nights and 2 days. Maybe you just say I'm old and I've got funny ideas, but I got a feeling, Sergeant, something's happened to Jimmy. Something's happened and I can't do anything about it.
You just put those thoughts out of your head, Mr. Sherman. They're going to find Jimmy and it's going to be all right. Why don't you pull up those lawn chairs there, Sergeant?
All right.
I'm going to go in the house and fix some cold lemonade for you men.
Well, thank you, ma'am.
We got your phone message at the office, Mr. Sherman. Anything special you wanted to talk to us about?
Yes, there was something. When you were talking to me yesterday...
Yes, sir.
I told you that Jimmy had on a brown jacket when he disappeared Monday night.
Yeah.
I was wrong, Sergeant. We found the jacket in his room. All he was wearing was a pair of blue jeans and this white sweatshirt. Do you think that might help any?
Yes, sir, it might. We'll send out a supplementary description of his clothes. We'll see that everybody's notified.
Just wish I could be out there with a searching party. Arthritis is pretty bad today. Caught me at a terrible time. Don't know what I'd do if anything happened to the boy.
I know we've asked you this before, Mr. Sherman, but can you think of any reason at all why your grandson would want to leave home?
No, sir, no reason at all. Those 2 collie pups over there in the pen. Jimmy just bought them last week with his own money. Saved up to get them.
I see.
The boy's crazy about dogs. That's why I say just wouldn't pick up and leave everything. The boy and me got along fine. No reason for it, Sergeant. Something's happened to the boy. I just got a feeling.
Officer?
Yes, ma'am?
A telephone call for either one of you.
I get it, Ben. I'll be right back.
Yeah, all right.
The man said it was your office calling.
Thank you, Miss Keller. Where's the phone?
Telephone's straight back there in the hall.
Thank you very much. Friday talking.
This is Bowling, Joe. Just heard from the search party up in the hills.
Oh, did they find something?
Yeah, in the Elysian Park area by the upper reservoir.
Uh-huh.
Found a pair of kids' trousers right by the edge of the water.
What kind of trousers?
Blue jeans, nothing in the pockets. They'll start dragging for a body as soon as they get the equipment. Check it out with the grandfather, huh? See if the boy was in the habit of hiking up there around the reservoir.
Right. We'll call in just before we leave here.
Right, Joe.
Right, bye.
Well, there's your lemonade, Sergeant. Just poured it for you. Nice and cold.
Thank you, ma'am.
What was it, Sergeant? Something about the boy?
Well, nothing definite, no, sir. Just a report on the search party. They're still up in the Elysian Park area.
Oh, I see.
Did your grandson Jimmy do much hiking in that neighborhood up there, Mr. Sherman?
Yes, I think he did. Likes to hike up there around the reservoir. Why?
The name on the 316 report, missing juvenile, read James Philip Sherman, WMA, 10 years old. He lived with his 68-year-old grandfather, Oscar Sherman, in a small cottage in a sparsely populated section of the city. Shortly after 6 p.m. on Monday, the boy went outside to play. When darkness fell and he failed to return home, his crippled grandfather went out to look for him. Half an hour later, the neighbors joined in the search. No sign of the boy. At 10 p.m., Juvenile Bureau was notified, and throughout the night, squads of men on foot and in cruiser cars canvassed the area. A local broadcast and an all-points bulletin was gotten out on the boy. Neither the grandfather or the neighbors could find any reason for his disappearance. After almost 48 hours of continuous searching, the only lead we had was the pair of trousers found on the edge of the upper reservoir in Elysian Park. They were shown to the grandfather, but he failed to give positive identification. Dragging operations at the reservoir began immediately. Meantime, Ben and I, together with Lorman and Lopez from Homicide, checked out every possible lead on the missing youngster. One of the tips came from a Frank Grady, an unemployed carpenter who lived 5 blocks from the Sherman home.
I don't know how much this may be worth to you, Sergeant. I don't want to get anybody into trouble, but I figured this is a pretty important thing.
Well, what is it you want to tell us, Mr. Grady?
Well, as I say, I don't want to get anybody in any trouble, but have you checked over everybody in this neighborhood?
I think we've talked to just about everybody in the area, don't you, Joe?
Well, either us or the man from Homicide. Why do you ask, Grady?
Well, there's a guy who lives down the street there, right down the corner from this house. Old guy by the name of Gilby.
Well, what about him?
As I say, I don't want to cause any trouble, but maybe you ought to double-check him. One thing, he's an ex-convict, I know that. Another thing, he hates everybody in the neighborhood. Hates the kids, too. Wouldn't be surprised if he was your man.
Why do you say that, Grady? Does he have any special reason for disliking the Sherman boy?
Old man Gilby wouldn't need a reason. A real queer one. Say, I got a couple cans cold beer in the icebox, and I fix you fellas up.
No, thank you very much.
Just the same. What makes you think this Gilby had anything to do with the boy's disappearance, Mr. Grady?
Well, number one, I saw old man Gilby out walking Monday night when the Sherman kid disappeared.
Yeah?
Saw him walking along the road up there. The same one that goes up by the reservoir. And I watched him. It was dark by the time he got back to his house. I'd check on him again if I were you.
As far as you know, has Gilby ever been in trouble for bothering the kids in the neighborhood?
Oh, Sergeant, he bothers everybody in the neighborhood. Real queer. Lives by himself, always complaining about something. Frankly, I think he's your man. I think he took that kid and he did something to him.
Well, do you have anything at all to back up your opinion?
You dig around. You'll find something on him. He's no good, and I'll bet on it. I've had a couple of run-ins with him myself. He just isn't any good, that's all.
Well, all right, Grady. Thanks for the tip. We'll be sure and double-check on the man.
You won't tell him where you got the tip, though, huh? Like I say, I've had run-ins with him before. It might cause trouble.
No, he won't know where we got it. Thanks again.
Okay, Sergeant. It's a pretty important thing. I didn't want to make anybody look bad, but the old man's just no good. Now, you understand that, don't you?
Sure, Grady. We understand. As a matter of routine, we double-checked on Grady's neighbor, Mr. Harold Gilby. We found out that he had no jail record and that he had been at work on Monday from 3 to 11 p.m. He could have had no direct connection with the Sherman boys' disappearance, no more than Grady himself could have had. The so-called tip he'd offered us was like 100 other phony leads in 100 other cases. Spiteful, small-minded neighbors trying to use a tragic situation to work out their jealousies and prejudice on somebody that they didn't get along with in the neighborhood. The search continued. So did the hot weather. Friday, August 6th. No sign of the missing boy. The temperature climbed into the mid-90s. Dragging operations at the reservoir went on. Saturday, August 7th. More legwork. More hot weather. By noontime, Ben and I had run down the last lead we had on 10-year-old Jimmy Sherman. Went nowhere. 1 p.m. We headed back for the office to check with Inspector Bowling.
These are the days when I wish I had a little swimming pool in my backyard. It would be nice to go home to.
Yeah, well, save your money.
Oh, it doesn't cost so much. No, I read in a magazine where a fellow built his own pool for $95.37.
There can't be much of a pool, can it?
Oh, yeah, it's good size. Of course, he did all his own labor. Had all his friends in to help out.
He must have had a lot of friends, didn't he?
Yeah, he did after he finished the pool.
Friday, Ben?
Hi. Oh, hi, Skipper.
How'd you two make out? Anything?
No luck at all.
It makes it unanimous. Did you hear about the old man, the boy's grandfather?
No, what happened?
I guess the strain got too much for him. He collapsed. They're moving him to a hospital.
Oh, that's too bad. Our men still up there Dragnet Reservoir?
Finished this morning. Nothing.
Well, how about the search party? Nothing there either, I suppose.
No, not a trace of the boy. It's a blind alley all the way around. How about the APB, the radiogram?
Had 3 replies so far. None of them panned out.
Here, grab it. Juvenile Bureau, Bowling. Yeah, Fred. No good, huh? Yeah, all right. Check you later. I heard it once. I heard it 50 times. No trace of the boy.
Got me, Skipper. Something real weird about the whole thing.
Well, now, look, we know he didn't just disappear into thin air. Kid's gone. There's a good reason for it. There's got to be an answer somewhere.
That's right. You'll find it.
Another week passed, and then a month. 2 months. We were no farther along than the day we started on the case. In November, we had a teletype from Chief Earl O'Clair of the Phoenix, Arizona Police Department. Reportedly, the Sherman boy had been seen in Phoenix. It was another false alarm. The Christmas holidays wore on into a new year. February came and went. Then March, April. Tuesday, May 3rd, 1:40 p.m. Ben and I got a call to check in with Inspector Bowling.
This telegram just came in from Dayton, Ohio. Have a look.
Thank you.
Let's see, Joe. What is it?
Jimmy Sherman. They found him. 9 months had gone by, almost to the day, since the Sherman boy had disappeared. The grandfather was contacted immediately. When he was told his grandson had been found and that he was safe, the old man was unable to answer. He broke down and wept. In our communications with the Dayton, Ohio police, they told us that the boy had been found wandering along a highway just outside that city and that he'd appeared to be in a kind of a dazed condition. The boy told the Dayton officers that he'd been kidnapped a short distance from his home in Los Angeles by a man in a blue sedan. He gave them detailed descriptions of both the man and the car. He told them that for the past 9 months, the man had held him prisoner, driving from state to state, never letting the boy out of his sight. He said the kidnapper told him on several occasions that he was holding him for ransom and that he was waiting to get money from his grandfather. On May 8th, the youngster was returned to Los Angeles and reunited with his grandfather. On May 10th, we got a call from the grandfather that he wanted to talk to us. Ben and I drove out to see him.
Come right in, officers. Glad to see you.
How are you, sir?
All right, Mr. Chairman.
Sorry to cause you all this trouble chasing you out here like this.
Not at all, sir. What is it that you want to see us about?
Well, I'm not really sure about it, Sergeant. That's the whole thing of it. I don't know if it's me or what it is.
Well, what's bothering you, Mr. Chairman?
It's the boy, Jimmy. I don't know what to think.
Well, how do you mean, sir? He's all right, isn't he? We saw him as we drove up, playing out in the backyard, and the doctor checked him over.
No, it's not that. The boy's healthy enough. Nothing wrong with him.
Well, then what is it, sir?
Maybe it sounds a little weird to you, but I'm just not sure.
You're not sure of what?
That boy out there, Sergeant. I'm not sure he's really my grandson.
You are in the Communications Division of a Metropolitan Police Department, the teletype room.
.43, LOS 52951, 12:03 p.m. APB, WMA 150, 5'6", dark hair, dark eyes, wearing gray suit, no hat. Suspect is wearing glasses. Heavy build, 22 years. Suspect is armed with blue steel revolver. Any information? Forward.
You have just heard a teletype description of a suspect. This information will apply to many, but careful screening will eliminate all but one.
You'll find the same is true when you examine king-size cigarettes. Careful screening will eliminate all but Fatima.
Compare Fatima. Fatimas are the same length as any other king-size cigarette, 85 millimeters. Fatima has the same circumference, 1 1/64 inches around.
And Fatima filters the smoke exactly the same long distance as other king-size cigarettes, but in Fatima the difference is quality.
Fatima gives you extra mildness, a much different, much better flavor and aroma. You get all the advantages of extra length, plus Fatima quality, which no other king-size cigarette has.
So compare Fatima yourself. Your first puff will tell you...
Ah, that's different.
Yes, in Fatima, the difference is quality. Best of all, long cigarettes.
Tuesday, May 10th, 2 p.m. When the aging grandfather, Oscar Sherman, told us that he wasn't sure whether the recovered boy was really his grandson, Ben and I didn't know what to think. Our first reaction was that the shock of recovering the boy after he'd almost been given up for lost had been too much for the old man. Mr. Sherman admitted that there was no physical difference in the boy as far as he could see, but he still insisted that there was something wrong, that the boy seemed different somehow. To satisfy the grandfather, Ben and I talked to the boy, but he failed to give us any reason to believe that he was not Jimmy Sherman. We checked with the boy's friends, all the people in the neighborhood who'd known Jimmy over a period of years. They confirmed our opinion. A few thought that the youngster had changed a little, but no one had any serious doubts about it. The boy was really Jimmy Sherman. So the matter was dropped. Thursday, May 12th. Ben and I had lunch, and then we checked back in at the office.
Joe, want to grab that?
Yeah, I'll get it. Juvenile Bureau, Friday.
Sergeant, this is Mr. Sherman talking.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Sherman?
Yes, sir. How are you?
I want you to come out and take this boy, Sergeant. He's not my grandson. I'm sure of it.
Well, how do you mean, sir?
This boy's got a scar on his side. He's had his appendix out.
Yes, sir.
My grandson never had an operation in his life.
Before we left the office, Ben and I briefed Inspector Bowling on the phone call from the grandfather, then we drove back to the Sherman house. While Oscar Sherman didn't claim that he knew his grandson's complete medical history, he was certain that the boy had not had his appendix out and that he had not had an operation. He told us that his neighbor, Mrs. Keller, could substantiate that she had known Jimmy since he was a baby. We put in a call to the Sherman's family doctor. He wasn't in. We left a message, and then we went next door to see Mrs. Keller. We found her in the kitchen washing dishes.
I just got a couple more to rinse. Can you wait a minute?
Yes, Loretta.
Of course you can.
No, to tell you the truth, Sergeant, I just don't know what to think about Mr. Sherman. Maybe the whole thing was too much for him. His mind's going back on.
Well, to your knowledge, Mrs. Keller, was the boy ever operated on?
No, not as far as I know. Well, it's possible he did have an operation. I didn't hear about it. Sergeant, as far as I'm concerned, that boy's Jimmy Sherman. I don't know what his grandfather's up to with all that silly talk.
Well, if it's not really the boy, we won't have too much trouble finding the truth.
There's no question in my mind. Of course it's Jimmy. Why, when he was over here the other day, he talked about the party I gave for him one Halloween. He even remembered the children who were there.
Mm-hmm. Are the other neighbors as sure about the boy as you are?
Just about. Miss Foster down the street, Jimmy was in to see her yesterday. He talked about some changes she'd made in her living room, asked her about some relatives she has living out of town.
Mm-hmm.
Come to think about it, Jimmy even remarked on that new trailer rose I planted out in front. Besides, as the boy's dogs, why, they knew that youngster the minute he set foot in the yard.
Yes, ma'am. Well, thank you very much, Mrs. Keller. If we have any more questions, we'll contact you. Is that all right?
All right, Sergeant. Couldn't fix you a cup of coffee, could I?
Oh, no, thank you. Take the time now.
Poor old Mr. Sherman. I don't know what to make of it. He's so mixed up.
Yes, ma'am. So are we. We left the neighbor, Mrs. Keller, and went back next door to the Sherman house. The grandfather told us that the family doctor hadn't returned our call yet. At 3:30 p.m., the boy came home from school, changed his clothes, and went out into the backyard to play. We figured we had nothing to lose in talking to the boy again. We found him in the small workshop at the rear of the garage where he was sawing on a piece of plywood with a hacksaw. We talked to him for about 20 minutes. It was no different than the first time we interviewed him. He was relaxed and talkative.
Say, would you hand me that hammer there, officer?
Oh, yeah. Here you go.
Thanks. Boy, if I ever get this thing finished, it's going to be the best coaster around here. These are the wheels I'm going to put on it. Pretty good, aren't they?
Yeah, they look fine, son. Do you like building things, coasters and things like that?
Oh, yeah, I like it all right. It's fun.
Your granddad says you've changed quite a bit since you got back, Jim. Says you didn't like working around the shop here before.
Well, I guess I don't really. You know, once in a while I like to come out and fool around.
Mm-hmm. Have you seen Mr. Barlow down the street since you've been back?
Mr. Barlow? No, I went down to see him, but he wasn't home. Maybe I'll go down and see him tomorrow.
His name isn't Barlow, is it, Ben? I thought it was Robinson.
Oh, yeah, that's right, Mr. Robinson. Sometimes I forget.
How do you and your grandfather get along, Jim, all right?
Oh, sure, every once in a while looks kind of funny at me. I don't know. I guess he's still worried about that man taking me away, you know, and all.
Uh-huh. How you been feeling lately, Jim, okay?
Sure, I feel fine. Hardly ever get sick. That's good.
You ever been in the hospital, son?
Uh-huh, just once. Had my appendix out. I hate hospitals. Can I have that can of nails there, please?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, here you are.
Gotta make this good and strong, you know.
I'd like to ask you a question, son.
Yeah?
What's your real name?
I'm Jimmy Sherman. You know that.
No, I'd like to have the truth, son. Who are you?
You must be fooling, officers. You know who I am. Jimmy Sherman.
No, Jimmy Sherman never had his appendix out, son, but you did, and you've got a scar to prove it, haven't you?
Sure, I had my appendix out. Ask my grandpa. He'll tell you.
I'm afraid he won't, son. He says he's not your grandfather. He says you don't belong here. His grandson never had an operation in his life.
How about it, son? You want to tell us about it?
Oh, Grandpa isn't feeling well. He doesn't know what he's saying.
Well, he knows you're not his grandson. Now, come on. What about it, son?
All right. I'm not Jimmy Sherman.
He told us his real name was Donald Rush. He said he'd run away from his home in Springfield, Ohio, 2 weeks before. He said that he'd been picked up by the police on a highway just on the outskirts of Dayton, Ohio. On returning the boy to the station, the police officers saw that he fitted the description of the missing California boy perfectly. It was almost as if the two were identical twins. Under the impression that the youngster was suffering from shock or amnesia, the police officers told him all about his home and his friends in California. They gave Donald Rush all the information that they had on the missing Sherman boy, all the newspaper stories, pictures, the dozens of teletypes and circulars which had been sent across the country in an effort to locate the missing youngster. On his way out to California on the train, the Rush boy was given dozens of newspapers to read, which contained thousands of words concerning the disappearance of Jimmy Sherman. So, by the time he got to Los Angeles, Donald Rush knew everything he had to know about the boy he was impersonating. We questioned the Ohio youngster further. Besides an exceptionally high IQ, he admitted to having an almost photographic memory. We took him in the house to face the grandfather of the boy that he'd been impersonating, the boy who was still missing.
Mr. Sherman,
Yes, Sergeant. Sit down, won't you?
The boy here has a confession for you. He wants to tell you himself.
I think I know. I was right all along, wasn't I, Sergeant?
I didn't mean anything by it, mister. I just thought it'd be fun to make out like I was somebody else for a while.
You wouldn't know the difference, would you, Sergeant?
No, sir. I'm afraid I wouldn't. That picture over there on the mantel and the boy here, they look exactly alike to me.
There's only one thing I'd like to know, son.
Yeah?
Why'd you do it? Why'd you try and fool me?
Oh, I don't know, mister. I ran away from home, and the cops picked me up near Dayton. They thought my name was Jimmy Sherman. They said I was a missing kid from California.
Why didn't you straighten them out right then, son?
I was kind of afraid, and if I told them what my real name was, they would have sent me back home. So I just let them think I was really Jimmy Sherman. And they seemed to be pretty sure I was.
How long did you think you could keep it up, son, pretending you were somebody else?
I don't know. Guess I never thought much about that. I got here, and everybody was nice to me. I just didn't think about anybody finding out. Honest, mister, I didn't mean to do anything wrong. I didn't mean to hurt anybody.
And you never saw my grandson? You never saw Jimmy?
No, sir. I just got on the train. They brought me out here.
You don't know where he is? You don't know how he is?
All right, try to take it easy, Mr. Sherman.
Why would you do it, boy? You're a stranger. Why would you try to fool me about Jimmy?
I'm sorry, mister. I didn't mean it. Honest, I didn't mean it.
Thought I had him back. Thought I had him back.
Come on, Ben.
Let's go, son.
I didn't want to make him cry like that, Sergeant. Honest, I'm sorry. Couldn't you just let me stay here with him?
No, I'm afraid not, son.
I won't do anything wrong. Don't you think I could just stay here with him? I'll go right back in there now and tell him I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'm sorry too, youngster, but you're not the boy he's looking for.
The story you have just heard was true. Only the names were changed to protect the innocent.
On Wednesday, May 20th, a meeting was held at the Juvenile Bureau, City and County of Los Angeles, State of California. In a moment, the results of that meeting.
And now here's our star, Jack Webb.
Thank you. Friends, I hold in my hand a new pack of Fatimas. All I need to prove that Fatima is the best of all long cigarettes. Now here, on the side, you'll find this statement. Fatima contains the finest Turkish and domestic tobaccos, superbly blended to make Fatima extra mild. Fatima gives you all the advantages of extra length, plus Fatima quality, which no other king-size cigarette has. So tomorrow, buy a pack of Fatimas. I know you'll find that in Fatima, the difference is quality.
Donald Rush, who impersonated missing 10-year-old Jimmy Sherman, was returned to the custody of his parents at their home in Springfield, Ohio. 4 months later, the body of Jimmy Sherman was discovered buried on a farm on the outskirts of Riverside, California. The boy had been murdered. His killer, a farmer in the neighborhood, was subsequently apprehended and brought to trial. He was found guilty of murder in the first degree and was executed at the state penitentiary, San Quentin, California. You have just heard Dragnet, a series of authentic cases from official files. Technical advice comes from the Office of Chief of Police W.H. Parker, Los Angeles Police Department.
Fatima Cigarettes, best of all long cigarettes, has brought you Dragnet, portions transcribed from Los Angeles.
Stay tuned for Counter Spy, next over most NBC stations.
My name's Regan. I work for Anthony J. Lyon Detective Bureau. They call me the Lion's Eye.
Wednesday at 9, and CBS brings you Jeff Regan, Investigator, starring Paul Dubov as Regan with Frank Nelson as Anthony J. Lyon. So stand by for mystery and suspense and adventure in tonight's story titled, It All Comes Back to Me Now.
She was about medium-sized, brunette, beautiful, and bewildered. She couldn't remember where she'd come from or where she was going. Couldn't remember her own name. Just one thing she could remember. She wanted to commit murder. She was in the office of my boss, Anthony J. Lyon, that Friday morning, sitting there across the desk from him, holding onto her battered purse like it was the last thing in the world she was sure of. What the Lion or I didn't know, she was right.
Oh, Jeffrey, come in. I've been waiting for you.
Morning, Fatso. New client?
Yes, Jeffrey. I think we could call her that. Jeffrey, this is Miss...
That's a very interesting name, Fatso. My name's Regan, Miss.
How do you do, Mr. Regan?
Jeffrey, she has a terrible problem.
Somebody does.
She can't remember her name.
Please, can't you help me? I don't remember anything.
You remember how you got here to our office?
No, not anything.
From when?
From now. Except, there was a door. It said detective agency. I walked in.
Yes. Jeffrey, what are we going to do about Miss Smith?
Smith?
Well, we've got to call her something, haven't we?
All right, Smith.
Jeffrey, this is a matter for the police. The Bureau of Missing Persons. Surely...
No, Mr. Lyon, please. Not the police.
What's that?
Oh, please, Mr. Regan, please don't let him call the police.
People who can't remember their names usually can't remember they shouldn't go to the police, Miss Smith.
But Oh.
Look, lady, if you don't want to go to the cops, there's got to be a reason.
Well, then, look at this.
Jeffrey.
.32 caliber revolver, Smith & Wesson. Loaded except for 2 empty shells.
You see, Mr. Regan.
The gun's been fired, Jeffrey?
2 bullets missing. Miss Smith?
I don't know.
Jeffrey, that settles it. We call
Lyon, I think Miss Smith hasn't quite finished her story. The gun in her purse isn't the only reason she doesn't want to go to the police. Is that right, Miss Smith?
Mr. Regan, I try to remember. There was a house somewhere. A small house. I was in a room.
Go on.
No, I can't.
Keep trying, Miss Smith.
I was going somewhere. Alone. I wanted to see someone. I think I was on my way to kill someone.
Patso, get some water. She's fainted.
Here, water? Jeffrey, don't just stand there. Call an ambulance.
The Lion was right. Miss Smith wasn't just a quick faint. Her breath came in short, hushed spurts, and her pulse was a whisper. Beside her, the battered little purse had fallen open. Inside, $2.17 and a receipt for cab fare. No wallet, no identification. I picked up the receipt. It was dated that morning, Friday, and totaled $3.70. It was a lead. I sent the Lion with Miss Smith in the ambulance and then headed for the main office of the cab company. It took me 2 hours to get what I wanted. The receipt was for cab number 702, one of the new cars the company added, and it was usually driven by one Joseph Rupnick. Another hour passed, and he pulled into the cab stand out front of the main office. Joe Rupnick?
Who else?
Let's drive.
My flag is down. Where to, Mac?
Did you drive a medium-sized brunette this morning, Joe?
Oh, it'd be a pleasure.
Think. Fair complexion, good-looking, very good-looking. Carried a little black leather purse. The fare was $3.70.
$3.70, huh? You know, it's a nice fare.
What'll it buy, $3.70?
Well, let's see. $3.70 should ought to take you out to Westwood.
You got a record of your stops today. What about Westwood?
Yeah, I guess I have. Hey, Mac, what do you know? She was lovely, she was engaged, and she used my cab. Oh, what a dish. Bewitched, bothered, and brunette. I seen her, and I'm glad.
Never mind the tone, Holmes. Where did you pick her up?
In Westwood. Where else?
Okay, let's go there.
This is it, Mac. Right here on this corner. She was standing here. Naturally, I stopped.
Naturally. Thanks. See you around.
No, you're welcome, but I'm staying.
Staying where?
Now, look, right here, Mac. Look. You don't have to be a mind reader to spot you for a private eye, shamus, or gumshoe. This means the jackpot. My cab is at your service.
That's your business, Joe. Only keep your flag up.
Shouldn't worry about a thing. Besides, when else do I get a chance to check the horses at Tanforan?
Joe Rupnick pulled a racing form out of his pocket, and I looked at the place he'd pointed out. According to Joe, Miss Smith had been standing in front of a white one-story building with a two-story sign that said Parker's Service. It was an auto repair shop, a big one, the kind that specializes in foreign cars, custom sedans, and rich customers.
Mr. Parker. Telephone call, Mr. Parker.
Yes, sir? And what can I do for you, sir?
I'm looking for a girl. She used to work here.
Sarah? You're looking for Sarah?
About medium-sized, good-looking?
Yeah, that's Sarah. Well, she quit yesterday. She was in here this morning to pick up her check. Me, I'm just taking her place. And it's not a bad job. Not bad at all. Mr. Parker, he's a nice guy. A very nice...
Could you give...
pardon me just a moment, please. Parker's Service? Yeah, just a moment, please.
Could you give me Sarah's address?
Huh?
Could you give me Sarah's address?
Well, I could check for you. You see, I'm new here and
Sure. By the way, what's Sarah's last name? I've forgotten.
Sarah Hanson. So you didn't know her very well, did you?
Blind date.
Oh, yeah. I understand. And she forgot to give you her address. Sure, I'll find out for you, mister. Glad to.
The girl behind the counter winked at me and went back into the office, and before I could turn around, there was somebody at my elbow. And I had that feeling you get when you know someone's staring down your neck. I turned, and I was right. Tall man, neatly dressed, business suit, about 35. Suntan that spelled 18 holes of golf on Sunday, private club, Chamber of Commerce.
I beg your pardon, sir. Did I overhear you asking for Sarah Hanson?
Maybe you did.
My name's Parker.
Mine's Regan.
I wonder if you'd be kind enough to step into my office.
Okay.
This way, Mr. Regan. You see, I happen to be particularly interested in a girl, Miss Hanson. She's unusually intelligent, a superior worker. I hated to see her leave. Here we are, Mr. Regan. Have a chair. A cigarette?
No, thanks. Let's stick to Miss Hanson.
Oh, yes, Mr. Regan. I was quite curious at your interest in Sarah Hanson. She's not the sort of girl to have many, shall we say, gentlemen friends.
Really? What sort of girl is she?
Well, more on the quiet side. Intelligent, as I've said, and not at all emotional. Sarah was a very
superior worker. Come on, Parker. I haven't got all day. A girl quit her job and you want to know why. Is that it?
Well, I'm curious.
There's more to it than that. I saw 4 secretaries in your front office alone. One named Sarah wasn't that good.
Very well, Mr. Regan. I'm going to tell you the truth. Certain malcontents, certain vicious elements in my organization, irresponsible rumor mongers have been saying that Miss Benson and I... Well, there isn't a word of truth in it.
I'm still listening.
I'm a happily married man, Mr. Regan. You understand what rumors of this sort do to a man.
Go on.
I'm going to put a stop to it. You understand? Once and for all,
Okay. Take it easy, Parker.
I'm sorry I lost my temper, Mr. Regan. This thing has been gnawing at me for months. That's why I finally discharged Miss Hanson.
That's what you've been trying to say. You fired Sarah Hanson. You think that's why I'm here?
Well, yes,
It's just a job, Mr. Parker. We all got to make a living. Somewhere in it, a story was beginning to take shape. Parker apologized again, and I left his private office. Out front, the receptionist had Sarah Hanson's address, and I took it. When I got to the street, Joe Rupnick's cab was still sitting there.
Hop in, Mac. I'm available. You find the gun?
No, but I've got an address.
Great. I got them all lined up for tomorrow at Tanforan. Let's go.
It was past Pico on Bentley. Took us 5 minutes to pull up in front of a bungalow converted into a duplex. I left Joe with his racing form and newspaper and went up to the door that belonged to Sarah Hansen. I rang the doorbell. No answer. I knocked. Same results. The sun was sinking somewhere in the distance, and the early mist, the prelude to fog, was settling in fast. I tried the doorknob. No results. And then something told me to get inside that apartment, to get in with or without a permit, with or without a key. I walked around back until I found a window unlocked. The screen was easy, and I climbed up. My stomach scraped across the windowsill, and I was inside. Dark, dank, stale-smelling air. Something foul and disagreeable. I wanted to turn and leave and get out of the stinking apartment. But I didn't. Instead, I moved slowly along the wall in the darkness and fumbled until I hit the light switch. The lights didn't change the smell, but it told a story. Chairs upside down. Picture frame smashed to the floor. 2 dishes broken in 1,000 pieces. And the sofa cushions on top of each other in a corner. The whole place turned upside down, looking like a clapboard shack after a hurricane. I moved into the living room, picking up pieces, searching for anything. And I found something. In front of the imitation fireplace on the carpet, a pool of blood.
Hey, Mac, you okay?
Yeah, Joe.
Look, Mac, I think I got something important.
Be there in a minute.
Never mind. I'll climb through the window. Hey, look, Mac, I want you to take a look at this. I was reading while I was waiting for you.
Early edition of the afternoon paper.
Yeah. Look on page 2. You find it, Mac?
Yeah, I found it. I found it. Story on page 2. The body of a girl found washed up on Will Rogers State Beach, tentatively identified as Sarah Hansen.
This is CBS, and you are listening to tonight's adventure with Jeff Regan, Investigator, entitled, It All Comes Back to Me Now. CBS brings you many of the most exciting programs on the air. For example, Sundays at 5:30. A Face in the Shadows, a blood-stained burnoose, a beautiful dancing girl may set Rocky Jordan on an exciting adventure in ancient Cairo. Follow Rocky Jordan as he moves through the dangerous streets of the capital of Egypt. Meet Rocky Jordan this Sunday at 5:30 on CBS. And now, back to tonight's story titled, It All Comes Back to Me Now, and Jeff Regan, Investigator.
Joe, the cab driver, stepped on the gas, and we headed for the police. I sat in the back seat, the folded newspaper in my lap, and tried to make sense out of a story so twisted even the principal characters no longer made sense. A girl with amnesia hires the Lion and me to help her find herself. She says she remembered wanting to kill someone. She collapses, and I follow a lead to a cab driver, to a repair shop in Westwood, to the home of one Sarah Benson. That was when I read the early afternoon paper which said a girl had been found washed up on Will Rogers State Beach. Her name, Sarah Hansen. It was getting late. Streetlights turned on, traffic jamming and honking its way up Sunset. But that didn't stop Joe Rupnick from hitting 40 between the cars. We made the police station at 6:45. Okay, thanks, Joe. That does it.
What do you think, I'm leaving? Me, a sucker for a mystery? I gotta know how this comes out.
It took me 15 minutes to get to Lieutenant Candid.
Hi, Regan.
Candid, I got a couple of questions.
Regan, I am tired to the very bottom of my large, flat feet. Let's make it tomorrow.
It can't wait.
All right, Regan. What's her name?
Listen, Candid, all I want to know is where you got your identification for Sarah Hansen.
Sarah Hansen, age 27, height 5'4", weight about 117, hair blonde, eyes brown.
Blonde.
That's what I said, wasn't it?
You fished her up off Santa Monica?
Will Rogers State Beach. We didn't find her. Some swimmers did. They called.
You weren't looking for her?
Looking. We didn't know Sarah Hansen from my friend Irma. What's eating you, Regan?
Candid, just tell me something else. Who identified the girl for you?
Only her mother and father and brother and sister, that's all.
Okay, Candid. Sorry I bothered you.
It's all right. We can't find the murder weapon. We haven't got a lead on the killer, and I got to talk to you yet.
She was shot?
2 slugs in her chest. 32s. Maybe Smith & Wesson. Gun's missing.
That part of it wasn't in the papers.
Don't we look bad enough already without making it worse? All we got on this case is a body. Even if it is a nice one.
When was she killed, Candid?
This morning, somewhere between 1 and 2 a.m., the coroner says. That isn't all.
What else?
Well, from the tire marks they found up the beach, there was another idea. We think maybe she was shot somewhere else and then driven down to the beach.
This Sarah Hansen, she worked?
Yeah, a place out in Westwood. Called, Parker's Service. We'll check everyone out there. Takes time.
What about an address, Candid? Where did she live?
Well, the parents say she moved out of their place a couple of months ago. Seems they had a fight, she and the parents. She wouldn't tell them where she was moving.
They tell you anything else?
Sarah Hansen was afraid of something, they said. Had them worried. That's when the fight started. She used to get phone calls from a woman.
A woman?
Yeah, every time this woman called, Sarah would leave the phone crying. Only happened a couple of times.
Did they ever see this woman?
Nope. They were wondering if it might be another girl who worked with Sarah. Feud.
Only you haven't checked the employees yet.
Like I said, Regan, it takes time. The shop opens up first thing in the morning. My men will be there.
Thanks, Candid. Thanks a lot.
Hey, Regan, where do you fit in this?
Client, Candid. You know how it is.
Maybe I don't, Regan. If you know something...
I don't know anything, Candid.
You wouldn't lie to me, would you? Sarah Hansen was a good-looking dame. A real good-looking dame.
I never met her.
You sure, Regan?
I'm sure.
Okay, I'll take your word. She's a real nice-looking dame, like I said. Kind you hate to see turn up dead. You want to see her, Regan?
All right, Candid. We'll see her. Candid and I went to the morgue. We saw her. Sarah Hansen. Medium-sized, good-looking blonde. She looked nothing like the girl who'd come to the Lyons office without a memory. Yet somewhere Sarah Hansen and Miss Smith fit together. Somewhere their lives became crossed and tangled up and then went separately again. Miss Smith's to a blank memory. Sarah Hansen's to death. Somewhere something made both things happen. That gave me an idea. I went upstairs to Missing Persons and checked every record I could find that even faintly resembled our client, Miss Smith. Nothing did. I headed outside. Joe Rupnick was still sitting in the taxi. He turned it around, and we headed for the L.A. County Hospital.
Jeffrey, there you are.
Trouble, Fatso?
Trouble? I've been sitting here all day, wasting time and money.
How's she doing, Fatso?
Is she? Oh, Miss Smith, fine. She's doing fine. Doctor says she was merely weak from too much tension brought on by the amnesia.
Good, Lion. I think we may have something.
We may have something. You're darn right we have something. Hospital bills, doctors, nurses' bills. Every time the door opens to that girl's room, I add another $5. Jeffrey, this is ridiculous. We're not Fort Knox. How do you think the Lion Detective Agency can pay for
Take
these
it
bills?
easy, Fatso. Remember, it was your idea to bring Miss Smith here.
So what if it was my idea?
That's right, Lion. You call the ambulance.
Well, that's no reason why we have to pay.
Mr. Lion, I'll have to ask you not to raise your voice.
Yes, Miss Wilson. Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Lion.
Yes.
Sitting here all day, wasting your time.
Oh, now, Jeffrey, after all, a man has to do something.
Sure, Fatso. You keep an eye on those nurses' bills. I'm going in to see our client. Miss Smith was lying there, pale face made paler by the whiteness of the sheets, the white hospital walls, the clinical smell of the room. You don't have to be sick to look sick in a hospital bed.
Oh. Hello, Mr. Regan.
You remember me?
You helped me, Mr. Regan. I won't forget that.
What does the doctor say?
Oh, I'll be all right. Really, I will. It's just my mind. I can't think straight.
But you remember about the gun, the 2 bullets missing?
Yes. Yes, I remember about them.
Do you remember anything more?
I don't think so.
About wanting to kill someone?
Oh, Mr. Regan.
You don't remember that part of it?
The doctor says it's shock. Something happened to me. Something I wanted to forget. Made me forget everything.
Murder might do that.
Yes, I suppose it might.
Does the name Parker mean anything to you?
No.
Parker Service, Westwood?
No, Mr. Regan.
How about Sarah Hanson?
No, Mr. Regan, I don't know that name.
Sarah Hanson, a blonde, pretty blonde.
No, I don't remember.
You worked for Parker Service in Westwood. You were in Westwood today. Maybe at a small apartment on Bentley just past Pico. That mean anything to you, Miss Smith?
Leave me alone. Leave me alone. Leave me alone.
Okay, thanks. Thanks anyway.
Please leave me alone. Mr. Regan, leave me alone.
Somewhere the paths of Sarah Hanson and Miss Smith crossed. Somewhere their lives were woven in and out of each other until it was so mixed up. And then it made sense. Simple, quick, easy sense. I left the hospital in a hurry. The cab was there, and I got in, and we drove and drove fast. First for a drugstore and a phone booth, then for Westwood.
Look, Mac, now that we're here, what are we doing here?
Visiting Joe.
Yeah, don't sound friendly somehow.
You sit tight, I'm going in.
Look, that house is dark. Nobody's home, Mac.
Maybe, maybe not. If I'm not out in 10 minutes, get to a phone and call the police. You got that?
Yeah. Call the cops.
It was 50 feet back from the street. Not a mansion, not a little house. Grounds well kept, lawn neat and trimmed. I moved slowly up the walk toward the front door. The fog had settled on Westwood Village, and the soft dampness sifted under your clothes, made your skin turn cold. Up ahead, the dark house, waiting. I changed my mind, moved along the side of the house toward the fireplace. That might mean den, and the den might mean proof. Around back, a patio and French doors next to the red brick. Still no sounds from the dark house. I tried the French doors. It was the den. Books, heavy leather chair, and desk. On the desk a photograph, too dark to see. I picked up the metal frame and lit a match. It fit. The final nail in a murderer's coffin.
You like the photograph? Get your hands off your gun, Mr. Regan. That's better. Only one of us needs a gun just now.
Just you, Parker.
The photograph is almost a perfect likeness, isn't it? Beautiful woman.
But not beautiful enough for you, was that it?
Beautiful but possessive. She didn't understand me.
And Sarah Hansen did.
Jane killed her.
So that's her name, Jane Parker.
Too bad you've never met her, Mr. Regan.
I've met her, Parker. In fact, I just left her less than 30 minutes ago.
It's a lie. You've never met my...
Your wife, Jane Parker. She asked for help.
Regan, you're lying.
You tell me a better story. Where is your wife?
I don't know.
But you'd like to, wouldn't you? You'd like to know so you could see her once more, so you could see her and shut her up.
She told you.
That you killed Sarah Hansen?
She was lying. She killed Sarah. There was a fight. Jane killed her in a jealous rage.
And you're going to try to tell me Jane carried Sarah Hansen to her car, then took her to the beach, and then threw her body in the...
I left. I don't know what happened. It was Jane.
Jane carried a woman her size down to the ocean. Who do you think you can make believe that?
You're lying.
I'll tell you what really happened. Jane found out you were running around with another woman, Sarah Hansen. She phoned Sarah, tried to reason with her. Your wife was dumb enough to want to keep you. When Sarah wouldn't listen to reason, your wife went to see her.
You don't know what you're talking about.
She found you at Sarah Hansen's apartment on Bentley. There was a fight. You lost your temper, Parker. Only a man your size could have wrecked the place the way it is now.
No.
You shot and killed Sarah, and the shock was too much for your wife.
No.
Her mind went blank, went completely blank, rather than remember the nightmare she'd seen.
How do you know?
How? Because I know where your wife, Jane Parker, is right now.
She didn't tell you that. She wouldn't dare tell
Your
you.
wife disappeared after the shooting early this morning, didn't she, Parker? You didn't know where she'd gone. That's what you really wanted to find out from me when I was at your shop this afternoon.
You're making that up.
You were afraid then, and you're afraid now. Yet you didn't report to the police that your wife was missing. I checked that. You didn't want them to find her either. She could tell the real story.
Where is Jane, Mr. Regan?
You're wasting time.
Unless you tell me where my wife is, Mr. Regan, I'll put every bullet in this gun through your body.
And that still wouldn't stop your wife from talking, would it, Parker? That still wouldn't give you the answer to where she is now.
Tell me, Regan?
Go ahead. Shoot, Parker. Shoot and read the morning papers tomorrow. The headlines will tell how every cop on the West Coast is waiting to shoot you on sight.
Regan?
So you won't need that gun.
Let go!
You pulled the trigger on yourself, Parker. Too bad your aim wasn't better.
Dr. Dana. Dr. Stephen Dana.
$16 a day for room. A private nurse.
Hiya, Fatso.
No, don't bother me, Jeffrey. I'm very busy. A room at $16 a day.
How's our client, Lion? She doing okay?
$16 a day. Yeah, what's that, Jeffrey?
Miss Smith, our client.
Oh, you mean Jane Parker. Oh, why didn't you say so, Jeffrey? She's much better. The doctor says it'll take time, though. Let me see now. If you take 16...
Do you think she'll get her memory back, Lion?
What? Oh, yes. He thinks it's just a matter of time. Mental block, that sort of thing. Very complicated, you understand. Oh, hey, Jeffrey, it's been a long day. You must be tired.
I am a little. Come on, Fatso, I'll drive you home.
Me? Go home? No, you just run on, Jeffrey. I really couldn't leave just yet. You see, I've got it figured so the city will have to pay part of the hospital.
Oh, you can figure that out at home, Fatso. You look tired.
Well, no. You see, Jeffrey, I'd better stay right here, where I can get the cost firsthand. That way I'll have it accurate when I charge the city. You know me, Jeffrey. Business before pleasure.
Oh, yes, business before pleasure.
Yes, I'm not satisfied until I've completely finished the case. You look peaked, boy. You run along, get some sleep. Me, well, I'll just sit here and work. Finish my job.
I'm all ready, Mr. Lyon, if you are.
Yeah.
The night supervisor said it would be all right if I left early.
Yeah.
Isn't that just grand?
Well, good night, Jeffrey.
Good night, Fatso.
Jeff Regan, Investigator, was written tonight by William Frug, produced and directed by Sterling Tracy, and stars Paul Dubov as Regan with Frank Nelson as Anthony J. Lyon. Original music is by Dick Arun. Jeff Regan, Investigator, is heard each week at the same time over CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System.
The story you are about to hear is true. Only the names have been changed to protect the innocent.
Fatima Cigarettes. Best of all long cigarettes brings you Dragnet.
You're a detective sergeant. You're assigned the homicide detail. A wealthy society woman in your city vanishes. 2 months pass before her disappearance is reported to the police. There's suspicion of foul play. Your job? Investigate. Webster's Dictionary. Definition of the word compare.
Compare. Examine for purpose of discovering resemblance or difference.
Now, let's compare Fatima with any other king-size cigarette.
The resemblance. Fatimas are the same length as other king-size cigarettes, 85 millimeters. Fatima has the same circumference, 1 1/64 inches around.
And Fatima filters the smoke exactly the same long distance as other king-size cigarettes.
The difference. In Fatima, the difference is quality.
You see, Fatima contains the finest domestic and Turkish tobaccos superbly blended to make Fatima extra mild. You get all the advantages of extra length plus Fatima quality, which no other king-size cigarette has.
So compare Fatima yourself. Your first puff will tell you...
Ah, that's different.
Yes, in Fatima, the difference is quality. Buy Fatima. Best of all long cigarettes.
Dragnet, the documented drama of an actual crime. For the next 30 minutes, in cooperation with the Los Angeles Police Department, you will travel step by step on the side of the law through an actual case transcribed from official police files. From beginning to end, from crime to punishment, Dragnet is the story of your police force in action.
It was Monday, February 8th. It was foggy in Los Angeles. We were working the day watch out of homicide detail. My partner's Ben Romero. The boss is Thad Brown, chief of detectives. My name's Freddie. We were on the way out from the office, and it was 11:23 a.m. when we got to the 9th floor of the medical dental building, room 912.
Dr. Marston?
Yes, what is it?
Police officers, doctor. Like to talk to you.
Oh, yes. I'm sorry. Daydreaming, I guess. I didn't hear you come in.
Well, my name's Freddie, doctor. This is my partner, Sergeant Romero.
How do you do? How do you do, gentlemen?
It's about the missing persons report on your wife. You filed it yesterday.
Yes, that's right, Sergeant. Certainly glad you came. Like to have this whole thing straightened out as quickly as possible. I want my wife back with me.
Well, we'll do everything we can, Doctor. There's a few things we'd like to have you straighten out for us, if you will.
I thought I made it pretty clear in that report I filed yesterday. What is it you have a question about?
I've got a copy of the report right here. Says your wife disappeared December 9th. That's a little over 2 months ago, Doctor.
Yes, that's correct. December 9th, Sunday night. We were out having dinner. We had a little argument, and Louise left. I didn't hear from her until the following Friday. That's when she wrote me the first letter. It was from New York.
Well, weren't you a little alarmed to find out your wife had left you and gone east?
Well, I wasn't too happy about it, but we'd had a few arguments before. Always figured it did both of us good if Louise got away for a little while. No, I wasn't particularly worried. She has friends in New York. Would you care for a cigarette?
Not right now,
thank you, Doctor.
Yeah?
I've got a light for you.
Thank you.
I understand your wife didn't stay with her friends this trip, Doctor.
No, apparently she didn't. However, I wasn't too concerned. She wrote me letters twice a week, and then she wrote Stanley. That's our son. He's in military school. Louise wrote to him regularly, too.
Mm-hmm. And the last letter you got from your wife was about 2 weeks ago.
Yes, sir, exactly 2 weeks ago. Had the same postmark on it, New York.
Well, have you any idea at all where she was staying back there?
That's a strange part of it, Sergeant. Louise didn't put a return address on any of the letters. I inquired of some of our friends back there, but none of them had seen her. Well, I suppose she was staying at a hotel. I don't know which one, though.
Well, about those letters, Doctor, now you're sure that they're in your wife's handwriting. You don't think they could be forgeries, do you?
It's possible, but I don't think so, Sergeant. I know my wife's handwriting.
Do you have all the letters with you, sir?
Yes, I'll have my secretary get them before you leave. She's out to lunch now. Oh, excuse me, please.
Go right ahead.
Yes, Dr. Marston. Oh, Miss Taylor. Oh, yes, I'm glad you reminded me. Thank you. I'm sorry, officers. There's a denture I have to have ready for one of my patients by this afternoon. Would you mind if I go ahead and work on it while we talk here?
No, it's perfectly all right, Doctor. You go right ahead.
Would you mind stepping in the lab back here?
All right, fine. Go ahead, man.
sorry to interrupt everything like this. I do have to have this denture ready, though.
We understand, sir.
Doctor, you say the night your wife Louise disappeared, the two of you had an argument?
Yes, that's correct. Mm-hmm. We were having dinner out at our country club, and I guess Louise had too many cocktails. She gets in a nasty mood when she drinks too much. I asked her to stop drinking. She flared up and walked out of the place.
Uh-huh. Did anyone besides yourself see her leave?
Oh, yes, 2 or 3 couples, friends of ours. When I found out Louise had gone off to New York, I thought, well, it was her way of teaching me a lesson. I wasn't too disturbed about it until the letters stopped coming.
Well, how about your son, Stanley? Do you know if he's still getting the letters from his mother?
No, he's not. I telephoned him up at his school. He stopped getting letters about the same time I did. Let's see, where did I put that casting ring? Oh, yes, here we are.
Then, as far as you know, Doctor, no one at all has actually seen your wife since that night at the country club when she walked out and left you.
Mm-hmm, that's correct. As I say, if I hadn't been getting those letters from her every week from New York, I would have called the police in long ago. Would you excuse me, please?
Oh, yeah.
Quite a bit of oxide in this gold crown I've cast here. A little bit of acid should take care of that.
Mm-hmm. Well, what's your theory on all this, Doctor? Your wife leaves suddenly and she goes to New York. She corresponds with you and your son, and then her letters stop coming. What do you think might have happened?
Well, frankly, Sergeant, the whole thing's a terrible family mix-up. Get this crown here out of the acid.
Well, how do you mean, Doctor, a family mix-up?
Well, just that. There's only one reason for Louise disappearing the way she has. Money. Money and that stepfather of hers. Say, would you switch on that small motor there, Sergeant? I've got to polish up this crown and get it in shape.
Oh, yeah. Sure.
Thank you.
Well, what do you mean, Doctor? How does your wife's stepfather fit into all this?
Money man. It's about the size of it. I don't know if you're aware of it, but my wife, Louise, was left a considerable amount of money by her aunt.
Uh-huh.
Well, it was a fortune, as a matter of fact. Louise's stepfather has always been trying to get his hands on it. Excuse me again.
Sure, go ahead. Well, and you think your wife's stepfather is responsible for her disappearance, is that right?
Oh, I'm not making any direct accusations, Sergeant. But 2 days ago, or 2 days before Louise disappeared, I had $80,000 in bonds signed over to her. Checked around since she's been gone. Haven't been able to locate the bonds anywhere.
You think she had the bonds with her when she left?
Guess I'm sure of it. Pardon me just a moment.
That's right.
Uh-huh. There's a fine cast with sharp margins on it.
Well, now, the $80,000 of the bonds, Doctor, do you have any way of proving that you gave those to your wife?
Oh, certainly. I had my wife signed a receipt for them. You're welcome to check it over if you like.
Mm-hmm. Just how do you think your wife's stepfather figures in there? Is there any indication he might have made a move to get the bonds?
Enough to satisfy me, yes. My secretary told me about it. Lenore Dexter, that's the girl in the reception room.
Oh, really? Huh?
The night after my wife left me at the country club, that'd be December 10th, Miss Dexter was at the airport waiting for a friend to arrive on a plane. While she was waiting, she saw my wife and her stepfather cross through the waiting room and go out toward the main gate.
Mm-hmm. Your secretary's sure it was really your wife and her stepfather.
Well, that's what she told me. You're certainly welcome to talk to her yourself if you like.
Yes, and well, besides the bonds, do you know of anything else of value that your wife had with her when she left?
No, I don't think so. She had her fur coat on, of course. It's expensive. She was wearing a diamond ring, anniversary gift from me, large solitaire, worth quite a bit of money. You can get the description from the jeweler. I'll give you his name.
All right, Doctor. Your wife's stepfather, we'd like to have his name and address, too.
Surely. I'll have my secretary check on both of them right now.
Oh, that's fine.
Sergeant, you've got to find Louise. I've got to have her back with me.
Well, we'll do everything we can, Doctor. We promise you that.
I know my wife wouldn't stay away of her own free will, not this long, not at a time like this.
How do you mean, sir?
Well, let me show you. Here it is. This is the final drawing the architect made for us. What do you think of it?
Oh, it's very nice.
Yeah, it certainly is.
It's got to be our own building. 12 stories, finest in the city.
Uh-huh.
Robert A. Marston building for professional men. Louise and I have looked forward to it for a long time.
I understand.
We settled on the final plans a week before she disappeared. Contractors will start construction in a few weeks now. It's supposed to be a great day in our lives. Laying the cornerstone.
Yes, sir, I understand.
Great day. Robert A. Marston building. It's a funny thing, isn't it, officers?
How's that?
Nothing's very great unless there's somebody to share it with.
Before we left the office of Dr. Robert Marston, we talked with his secretary, Miss Lenore Dexter. She confirmed the doctor's statement that on the night after Louise Marston had disappeared from the country club, she had seen both Mrs. Marston and her stepfather at the city's international airport. She said she did not follow them. She had no idea of their destination. Dr. Marston gave us the letters his wife had written him during her absence and also his wife's signed receipt for the $80,000 worth of bonds. Each of the letters was postmarked New York, and the dates on them ranged from December 15th to March 24th. Well, Ben and I drove back to the office and put in a call to the home of the missing woman's stepfather, a Mr. William House. Then we went down the hall to the office of Don Meyer, our handwriting expert. We gave him the letters, which supposedly had been written by Mrs. Marston from New York, along with a signed receipt for the bonds and various other exemplars of her handwriting, which we had obtained from her bank. 2:50 p.m. The missing woman's stepfather, William House, arrived at the office. He was a tall, graying man, dignified, well-dressed.
It's about time the police started looking into this thing. How long does a person have to be missing before there's an investigation?
The missing report was only filed yesterday, Mr. House. If you knew your stepdaughter was gone, why didn't you report it?
I've had private detectives working on this for a month. Had them checking everything about the case.
How much luck have they had?
Frankly, not much. But I still got them working on it.
Well, getting back to what we have on hand, Mr. House, how about this statement of Dr. Marston's secretary? She says she saw you with Mrs. Marston at the international airport the night after she disappeared.
It's a lie. I haven't been near that airport in 6 months. It's a lie, and I can prove it. I don't know what Marston's up to, but he isn't going to get away with it.
What do you mean with that, sir?
I think he's murdered Louise. I think he killed her and buried her somewhere. That's my honest opinion.
You sound sure of it.
I am sure of it. I knew Marston for what he was the day I met him. He's a fortune hunter, pure and simple. He's after Louise's money, and nothing's going to stop him. Nothing has stopped him.
Well, I was under the impression that Dr. Marston was wealthy before he married your stepdaughter. Isn't that right, sir?
Certainly not. He was just another poor dentist with a lot of big ideas. All this talk about putting up a building, naming it after himself. Why, Louise fought him on that constantly. He's some kind of crazy egotist.
Well, what about the $80,000 in bonds he says he signed over to Mrs. Marston?
If he told you that, he's a bigger liar than I thought.
Well, he gave us a receipt for the bonds. It was signed by his wife. Can you account for that?
Frankly, no. Either he got her signature on it by some kind of trick, or he forged it. I'm sure he never had that much money. Those bonds belong to Louise.
And what about the letters Dr. Marston got from his wife? You think they were forged, too?
I'm positive they were. Don't you see, officer? It's the perfect cover-up for it.
Well, one way or the other, it's not going to take us long to find out the truth. Our handwriting man's checking over the letters and the bond receipt now. Can you fill us in at all on Dr. Marston's background, Mr. House?
Only since he's been connected with the family, since he married Louise. Say, would you give me a cigarette, please? I went off and left mine at home.
Oh, sure. Here you are.
Thank you. Thank you. I can't tell you how I feel about it, officer. I'm afraid of that man. I'm deathly afraid of him. I know he's done something terrible to Louise.
Well, how can you be so sure of it, Mr. House? You must have some basis for your opinion.
I just know, that's all, Sergeant. If Louise had just disappeared and there wasn't any question of money involved, I wouldn't be so anxious about it. But $80,000 worth of bonds, that'll be enough to tempt Marston to murder his own mother. You don't know him like I do.
Well, what do you know about him, sir? There must be something concrete.
I can tell you this much, officer. Marston's a man who is capable of murder. Now, I'm a sensible man. I don't walk up and down the street looking for murderers. But I know when we've got one in the family. That much you've got to believe. You will believe it.
Well, excuse me just a minute. I'll get that. Homicide, Friday. Yeah, Don. Is that right? All of them? Right. Thank you, Don. Well, that was our handwriting man, Mr. House.
Yes?
He just finished checking the writing in those letters and on the receipt for the bonds.
What'd he say? Forgeries?
No, sir. They're genuine. Every one of them. As soon as William House left the office, Ben and I began an immediate check of his whereabouts the night after his stepdaughter, Louise Marston, had disappeared. We talked to his friends and associates, members of the staff at the club where he lived. We found a dozen people who backed up House's claim that he was nowhere in the vicinity of the airport the night after Mrs. Marston dropped from sight. We went back and talked with Dr. Marston's secretary, Lenore Dexter. She still insisted that she had actually seen House at the airport with the missing woman. Dr. Marston and the stepfather continued to accuse each other of murder. At our request, repeated efforts were made by the New York police to locate Mrs. Marston. No luck. We checked and rechecked with the maid at the home of the missing woman. All she could tell us was that Louise Marston never returned home after leaving the country club, and also that she'd been wearing a fur coat and an expensive diamond solitaire ring. A week passed, and then 2 weeks. We stayed on it, but there wasn't much progress. The case of Louise Marston came to a virtual standstill Wednesday, February 24th.
Hi, Joe.
Morning. Anything new?
Yeah, I think we got a break. The Marston case.
Oh, what do you got?
Maid out of Dr. Marston's home. She called first thing this morning. Said Dr. Marston had a little dinner party out there last night.
What about it?
One of the people there was Marston's secretary, that Lenore Dexter.
Oh, yeah.
She was wearing a large diamond ring.
Yeah?
Maid got a good look at the ring.
Mm-hmm.
Says it's the same one Mrs. Marston was wearing the night she disappeared.
You are listening to Dragnet, authentic cases from official police files. Now, let's look at our Fatima files.
Listed under B. Borden, Mrs. Clay Borden of Palm Springs in San Francisco. She says,
pleasing, distinctive, and really extra mild. That's the way I'd describe Fatima. It's definitely the best long cigarette.
friends, more smokers now insist on Fatima than ever before. Because in Fatima, the difference is quality.
Quality of tobaccos. The finest domestic and Turkish varieties, extra mild, superbly blended, to give you a much different, much better flavor and aroma.
Quality of manufacture. Smooth, round, perfect cigarettes. Rolled in the finest paper money can buy. Manufactured in the newest and most modern of all cigarette factories.
Quality, even to the appearance of the bright, clean gold and yellow package.
Remember, Fatima gives you all the advantages of extra length, plus Fatima quality, which no other king-size cigarette has.
So if you smoke a king-size cigarette, compare Fatima.
You'll find they now cost the same. But your first puff will tell you...
Ah, that's different.
Yes, in Fatima, the difference is quality.
Wednesday, February 24th, 9:15 a.m. Ben and I drove out to the home of Dr. Robert Marston and talked to the maid. She told us that on the previous evening, the doctor had had a small dinner party and that one of the guests was the doctor's secretary, Lenore Dexter. The maid told us that she'd gotten a close look at the diamond ring that Miss Dexter was wearing and that she was sure it was the same ring that the doctor's wife, Louise Marston, had been wearing the night she disappeared. 10:20 a.m. We left the Marston house and headed downtown to the doctor's office in the medical dental building. The office was closed and locked. We got back in the car and drove out Sunset Boulevard to Lenore Dexter's home address. We found the secretary having breakfast alone in her two-room apartment. She explained that on Wednesdays, the doctor never opened his office before noon. We questioned her about the dinner party at the doctor's home the night before. We asked her about the diamond ring that she wore at the party. She became confused and hesitant.
Well, what about it, Miss Dexter? Was that your diamond ring you were wearing at the dinner party?
No, Sergeant, it wasn't. I guess it belongs to Dr. Marston, either him or his wife.
Well, did he give it to you as a present?
No. You see, I guess the doctor had a few cocktails before dinner. Maybe one too many. He went upstairs and came down with the ring. He insisted I wear it. He was very insistent.
Uh-huh.
I didn't want to make a scene, so I put the ring on. I gave it back to the doctor just before we left the house. My boyfriend was with me at the party. We had a terrible argument over it. He's very jealous.
Tell me, Miss Dexter, did Dr. Marston have any special reason for wanting you to wear the ring?
No. Just that he liked me and I was pretty and I ought to have pretty things. My boyfriend didn't like him at all.
Well, had you ever seen that particular diamond ring, Miss Dexter? Before last night?
Well, I don't know, Sergeant. I think so. I'm not sure.
Well, where do you think you saw the ring before?
Mrs. Marston. I think I saw her wearing it once.
Was she wearing it the night you were supposed to have seen her at the airport?
I don't know what you mean. I didn't notice the ring, but I saw Mrs. Marston at the airport.
I'd like to have you think this thing out for yourself, Miss Dexter. Mrs. Marston's been gone for almost 3 months now, and there's a strong possibility that she might have been murdered. You can make up your own mind about it, miss. If you're not involved in that disappearance, I'd advise you to tell us the truth. It might save you a lot of trouble. Miss Dexter?
You mean about my seeing Mr. House at the airport with the doctor's wife the night after she disappeared?
Yes, ma'am, that's right. You sure that's the truth?
I didn't want to get involved, Sergeant. I didn't want any part of it.
You mean you didn't see Mrs. Marston and her stepfather at the airport that night, that you made it all up?
I didn't make it up, Sergeant. I swear I didn't. He told me what to say. He said to do it as a favor for him.
Who's that, miss?
Dr. Marston.
We continued to question the secretary, Lenore Dexter. She confessed that Dr. Marston had directed her to tell the story about seeing Louise Marston and her stepfather, William House, at the international airport. It was all a complete lie. She said that Marston had explained that the whole thing was just a practical joke, that it didn't mean anything. When Mrs. Marston was officially reported missing, she thought of going to the police, but Marston had frightened her out of taking any such action. The only other suspicious thing she could recall about Mrs. Marston's disappearance was a conversation between the doctor and his architect, Mr. Harold Whitmore. He was the architect who had planned and designed the projected Robert A. Marston building for professional men. Well, the secretary told us the doctor's conversation with the architect had taken place about a month before Mrs. Marston's disappearance, and that she'd heard the doctor mention to the architect something about New York and a packet of letters. Lenore Dexter was taken downtown, where she gave us a complete signed statement. Ben and I got in the car and drove to the offices of architect Harold Whitmore over on South Hope Street. He was a tall, florid-faced man, very cooperative.
Yeah, I remember that conversation with Dr. Marston. He gave me a bunch of letters, at least a couple of dozen anyway. They were addressed to the doctor and his little boy Stanley.
What do you want you to do with the letters, Mr. Whitmore?
He asked me if I had any friends in New York, and I said I did. Then he said he was playing some kind of practical joke on his wife and son. He gave me the letters and asked me if I'd send them to a friend in New York and have him mail them back one at a time.
You agreed to do that?
Yeah, that's right. The letters were all sealed and stamped, all in order, the way they were supposed to be mailed. I just sent them back to this friend of mine, Bob Rogers, in New York. Forgot all about it.
Mm-hmm. Mr. Whitmore, how long have you known Dr. Marston? Very long?
No, not too long, only in a business way. He wants to put up this office building of his, and I'm handling the job for him. He's sure nuts on the subject. Can't wait till we start construction on the job. I think his life depended on it.
You know much about his personal life? Where'd you first meet him?
Let's see, I think it was around October of last year. He and Mrs. Marston were building a summer place down at Malibu, and I helped out with the plans. The doctor was always hanging around there, helping out with the work whenever he could.
Uh-huh. And that's the only previous contact that you had with him, huh?
And that's about all, yeah, building the beach house. Dr. Marston thought he had some new ideas about building a new type basement in the place.
That's so?
Yeah, not a bad job on a cellar for an amateur. Used enough cement on it to sink a battleship.
No, just a second, Mr. Whitmore. Did Dr. Marston cement in the basement while the house was being built? Is that...
No, about a couple of months later, around the middle of December, I think.
Do you remember the date exactly when he did the cement work?
Not exactly. About the 12th or 13th of December, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, right after his wife disappeared.
Wednesday, February 24th, 1:30 p.m. Ben and I picked up Dr. Robert Marston and brought him downtown to the office. We questioned him for an hour and informed him of the evidence against him. Despite the statement of architect Harold Whitmore, the doctor insisted he was innocent of any crime connected with the disappearance of his wife. We contacted the New York Police Department and asked them to check on architect Whitmore's friend, Robert E. Rogers. A special detail of men was dispatched to the summer home at Malibu to see what they could find. Half an hour later, Dr. Robert Marston was placed in a car, and Ben and I drove him to the Malibu home. We continued questioning him during the drive, but he refused to make a statement of any kind. On our arrival at the beach cottage, we found Marston's young son, Stanley, together with the maid and the family butler. We took Dr. Marston downstairs to the basement. The men had a large section of the cement flooring ripped up. They were digging. In the room up above, we could hear young Stanley Marston playing on a toy harmonica.
I'd like to know something, Sergeant, just for my information.
Yes, sir?
Why do you think I'd kill my wife? Why do you think I'd do such a thing?
We're not sure yet if you did kill her.
And why do you have these men doing this? Digging up the whole basement. Why do you think I killed her? You won't find anything. You might as well tell them to stop now. They won't find anything. I explained everything to you. Why can't you take my word for it?
You still haven't explained about those letters, why you had them sent to New York, why you had them mailed back here one at a time.
Got nothing to do with it. Why can't you believe me?
Your wife didn't disappear without a reason, Doctor, and we'd like to know what the reason is.
I told you a dozen times over. You know what happened. We were at the country club, Louise and I. She was drinking a lot. I told her to lay off. We had an argument. She walked out, that's all. She walked out. I didn't see her anymore.
Yes, sir. We'll have it all worked out. Don't worry about it.
Why can't that maid look after the boy up there? Making all that noise. Why can't you take him out somewhere down at the beach?
Romero?
Yeah?
I'll see you a minute.
Oh, yeah, right.
Sergeant, what do you want me to say?
What's that?
They've found her. You know that. Louise, right where I buried her. What do you want me to say?
Well, that's up to you.
Guess you wouldn't understand, would you, Sergeant? The only thing I ever wanted in my life. She wouldn't let me have it. The building. Robert A. Marston building. For professional men.
You mean your wife wouldn't give you the money for it? That's why you quarreled, is that it?
I tried to tell her. Through one fight after another. She didn't know how much it meant to me.
And that's why you killed her, huh?
I followed her outside the country club that night. Drove her to my office. She was pretty drunk.
Mm-hmm.
We pretended she was on a trip to New York. I had her write the letters. Had her sign the receipt for the bonds. Wasn't hard to do.
How'd you kill her?
Put my hands around her throat. Didn't stop until she was dead.
Joe?
Yeah, man.
They found her. You ready to go, Doctor?
All right. It was a dream of a lifetime, Sergeant. I almost had it. The Robert A. Marston building. Finest in the city.
Yeah. You want to come upstairs, Doctor? We'll get your coat.
You'll try to understand, won't you? I wanted something that'd last. My own building. My name on it. Something you'd remember.
Yeah.
That's the reason I killed Louise. She didn't want me to have it. My own building. Something that would last. Make the people remember.
Well, you made it, Doctor. Why worry?
What?
You don't need a building. They'll remember you.
The story you have just heard was true. Only the names were changed to protect the innocent.
On June 3rd, trial was held in Superior Court, Department 87, City and County of Los Angeles, State of California. In a moment, the results of that trial.
And now here is our star, Jack Webb.
Thank you. Friends, our latest sales figures indicate that Fatima is undoubtedly the fastest-growing long cigarette in the country. Now, I'm sure you'll agree that there must be a sound reason for Fatima's ever-increasing popularity. Well, to my way of thinking, that reason can be summed up in just two words. Fatima quality. You'll spot it instantly. Fatima gives you all the advantages of extra length, plus Fatima quality, which no other king-size cigarette has. So tomorrow, buy a pack of Fatimas and prove to yourself that the difference is quality.
Robert Alexander Marston was charged with murder in the first degree. 10 days after his trial opened in Superior Court, the suspect took his own life in his jail cell by hanging. You have just heard Dragnet, a series of authentic cases from official files. Technical advice comes from the Office of Chief of Police W.H. Parker, Los Angeles Police Department.
Fatima Cigarettes, best of all long cigarettes, has brought you Dragnet, transcribed from Los Angeles. Stay tuned for Counter Spy next over most NBC stations. The story you are about to hear is true. Only the names have been changed to protect the innocent.
Fatima Cigarettes. Best of all long cigarettes brings you Dragnet.
You're a detective sergeant. You're assigned to accident investigation, hit and run detail. You receive a call that two elderly women have been struck down in a crosswalk by a hit and run driver. The women lie in Georgia Street Hospital. Their condition is critical. Your job? Find the driver. In Fatima, the difference is quality.
Yes, in Fatima, the difference is quality.
Quality of tobaccos. The finest domestic and Turkish varieties, extra mild, superbly blended, to give you Fatima's much different, much better flavor and aroma.
Quality of manufacture. Smooth, round, perfect Fatima cigarettes. Rolled in the finest paper money can buy. Manufactured in the newest and most modern of all cigarette factories.
Quality. Even to the appearance of the bright, clean, golden yellow Fatima package.
So compare Fatima yourself today.
You'll find Fatima gives you all the advantages of extra length, plus Fatima quality, which no other king-size cigarette has.
Yes, light up a Fatima. Your first puff will tell you,
Ah, that's different.
Because in Fatima, the difference is quality.
Dragnet, the documented drama of an actual crime. For the next 30 minutes, in cooperation with the Los Angeles Police Department, you will travel step by step on the side of the law through an actual case transcribed from official police files. From beginning to end, from crime to punishment, Dragnet is the story of your police force in action.
It was Saturday, September 5th. It was mild in Los Angeles. We were working the day watch out of accident investigation, hit and run detail. My partner's Ben Romero. The boss is Benny Caldwell, chief of traffic. My name's Freddie. It was 7:35 p.m. when I got to 4656 Collis Avenue. My front door.
Is that you, Joseph?
Yeah, Ma. Got both Sunday papers.
Oh, good. It's nice music on the radio, isn't it?
Yeah, it's pretty. It's your favorite song, isn't it?
Yes. See you in my dreams. Every Saturday night we used to get together down at the old Cromwell house on West Adams Boulevard. Weekly dance, you know.
Yeah, I know.
It was a lovely old home down there. Had a beautiful ballroom upstairs. Always had a good time at the Cromwell house.
Was that before you were married?
Oh, my, yes. Met your father through Mildred Cromwell, you know. She was quite fond of him, too.
Is that so?
Yes, she was. Oh, nothing serious, but she used to think quite a lot of Sam.
And you broke him up, huh?
Well, Joseph, you know I wouldn't do a thing like that. If Millie was only mildly interested in Sam, I wouldn't come between two people that were happy. You know that.
No, that isn't the way he used to tell it. Said you just broke him up, that's all.
Yes. Well, he ever tell you about the time all the girls invited some of the fellows from the Royal Order of the Western Wildlife Protective Brotherhood, Southern Charter, over to the basket raffle?
To a what?
Basket raffle. All the girls packed tasty lunches, and the boys bid for them at auction.
Oh, yeah.
It was a warm summer evening, just like tonight. It was a grand affair. Annie Shellman was there with Jim Donahoe, and your father came with Lorenzo Fisher, the Grand Vizier of the Wildlifers.
Yeah, sounds like quite an evening.
Oh, it was, Joseph, it really was. Samuel bid the highest for my basket, $10.15. I'll always think to this day that's the reason Millie Cromwell's been so cruel toward me.
Yeah, could be. You want part of the examiner, Ma?
Oh, thank you, son. I want to finish turning this collar in your shirt.
Okay.
You wouldn't think a basket lunch could come between two good friends, would you?
I beg your pardon? What's that?
Who'd ever think a basket lunch should break up a friendship like Millie Cromwell's and mine?
No, ma'am, you wouldn't. I'll get it, Ma. Friday talking.
This McDermott, Joe.
Oh, yeah, Mac.
Got a bad one. Two elderly elderly woman was struck by a hit and run.
Well, just a minute, Mac. I can't. Hey, Ma, would you turn down the radio, please?
Yes.
Thank you. Yeah, Mac, go ahead.
3 blocks west of Riverside on Los Feliz. We have 2 traffic cars out there now for the preliminary investigation. You and Romero better roll on it.
Right, Mac, right away.
I've already notified Romero. He's on his way over to pick you up now.
Okay, I'll be ready.
Keep me informed, huh?
Right, Mac. Bye.
You have to go back to work, Toast?
Yeah, where'd you put my flashlight, do you remember?
It's right here in the desk.
Okay, thank you.
What is it, son? An accident?
Yeah, bad one, it sounds like. Hit and run.
Who was it? Did they say?
A couple of elderly women struck down up on Los Feliz.
Isn't that terrible?
Yeah, Ma, they're all terrible. 10 minutes after I hung up the phone, Ben arrived, and at 8:10 p.m. we got to the intersection of Los Feliz Boulevard and Commonwealth Avenue. The bodies of the 2 victims had been removed and taken to the Georgia Street Receiving Hospital. One of the uniformed officers was taking photographs of the scene. His partner was picking up particles of glass and all physical evidence left by the hit-and-run driver. He identified himself as Officer E.W. Hyde, Unit 61T.
Few pieces of the headlight lens and the chrome ring, about all.
And this is the point of impact, huh?
Yeah, that's right. It's 24 feet south of the northerly pavement and about 12 feet east of the westerly curb line.
Right in the crosswalk up there, huh?
Yeah.
When freshly painted, the driver couldn't miss seeing it, could he?
Yeah, it's well illuminated. Good street lighting up here.
Hyde, were the signals in operation?
No, they weren't. Boulevard stopped here, though. Blinkers are all in operation.
How far were the bodies of the victims thrown?
Body number 1 was thrown 70 feet. Body number 2 was knocked 38 feet in the southwest direction. Both came to rest approximately at the center line of the street.
Whoever did it was going at a high rate of speed.
That's what we figured. I told you there were no skid marks, didn't I?
Yeah, you did.
Any witnesses?
Yeah, there's 3, but only one I think will be helpful.
What's the name and address?
He's right over there on the curb now. Name's Richard Morgan. Runs the nursery there.
Well, thanks, Hyde. You're going to make the reports and book the evidence, are you?
Yeah, I'll take care of it. That's Morgan over there in the tan overalls.
All right. Thanks a lot, Hyde.
Okay.
Your name, Richard Morgan, is that right, sir?
Yeah, that's right.
Police officers, Mr. Morgan. This is Sergeant Romero.
How are you?
Hi, sir.
My name's Freddie. We're out of accident investigation. I'd like to talk to you about the accident that just happened here.
Sure was a bad one. Hope you catch those kids. Didn't even slow down.
I understand you witnessed the accident. Wonder if you'd be kind enough to tell us what you saw.
I was just closing up my nursery here. Just unlocked my car and was about to get in when I saw this car come shooting up Los Feliz there. Fast clip.
Where were the 2 women?
They were just stepping off the curb onto the crosswalk over there. I could tell they didn't see the car. I yelled, honked my horn. Guess I wasn't quick enough. It was just awful.
Go on, Mr. Morgan.
Well, the way that car hit those women looked to me like he knocked them 50 feet at least. Then, just like nothing at all, the car raced right on through the intersection on down Los Feliz. That way.
Did you get a look at the driver?
No, sir. Not too good. But I believe he had blonde hair. Looked to me like he was alone in the car.
Anything more about him?
Looked like a young kid to me. I'll bet on that. He was young, blonde kid, about 18, 19, on in there.
Now, how about the car he was driving? Can you help us out there, sir?
I believe it was a Ford. I don't know what year. Yeah, a Ford sedan, 2-door.
What color was it?
Black, dark blue. I'd say black.
Did you happen to get the license number, sir?
No, sir. Everything happened so fast. I guess I was kind of stunned for a minute. You know how you'd be. Sorry, wish I did.
You're pretty sure about the car, Mr. Morgan. Are you familiar enough with cars to be positive it was a Ford?
Yeah, I think I am.
And you don't know what year the car was?
No, sir. Sorry, I don't. Just know it was a Ford sedan.
Well, thank you very much, Mr. Morgan. We may have to check back with you later.
Anytime. I'd rather do whatever I can to help you get that driver.
How can we get a hold of you, Mr. Morgan?
I'm right here all times. Morgan Nurseries. 4402.
Thank you very much.
Those 2 old women, they didn't have a chance the minute they stepped off the curb. Crazy kid didn't even stop to see if he could help them.
Yes, sir. Was that?
Didn't see him. Maybe it was Ford.
Before we left the scene of the accident, we interviewed the other 2. They could add nothing to Richard. Investigation disclosed victim number 1 was victim number 2 was identified as Elizabeth Ann Carey, age 65. Ben and I drove over to the Hollywood station where we met Officer Hyde, who was just completing his reports and was booking the physical evidence found at the scene of the accident. Included in the evidence were the topcoats worn by the victims at the time they were struck down. All this was turned over to Lieutenant Lee Jones in the crime lab. Ben and I compiled the small amount of information that we had, the physical scene, and scanned information that the witnesses were able to give us. Not enough for us to attempt to identify the driver of the hit-and-run car. Well, it wasn't much to go on. PM. We got a call from his investigation and wanted to see us right away.
We haven't got much of almost anything.
First off, your witness out there, what was his name?
Morgan?
Yeah, well, Morgan was right. The car was black. On a microscopic analysis on scrapings found on the victim's coats.
Yeah.
I'd say a black car, previously painted tan or sand color under the black.
That was one of the things he's positive about. How about the make and the models? Anything there? Is that too much there?
I think maybe I can help you there, too.
What's the break-in?
Let's see. Just got back from the lighthouse. Ran a lens meter test on those pieces of broken headlight lens, and the diopter reading shows that particular type lens was made in 1934.
Well, how about the make of the car, Lee?
The only company that used this type of lens was the Ford Motor Company.
Pretty positive about it?
Ran a spectrographic test on the chemical composition of the glass in the lens. Checks out.
And got a car to work on.
That's it, 1934 Ford black.
Well, thanks a lot, Lee.
It's all right. When you find the car, I can tie it indefinitely for you.
Well, that's fine.
Oh, excuse me. Crime Lab, Jones. They're right here, Mac. Just a minute. Who either one of you, it's McDermott.
I'll take it, Jim.
Okay.
Yeah, Mac from Merrill. Oh, when? Yeah, me too. Yeah, right. Mac just got word from Georgia Street.
Yeah.
Both victims. They just died.
With the death of the two victims, what had only been a hit-and-run felony had now become a case of manslaughter, 2 counts. Ben and I went back to the office and met with Lieutenant McDermott. Past experience has proven to the traffic officer that the quickest and surest way to a successful prosecution of a hit-and-run case is with the full cooperation of the average citizen. A hit-and-run felony differs from the ordinary police case in that the investigating officers are not dealing with a criminal suspect. In a case of this nature, the guilty party could well be the outstanding citizen of his community. In all probability, he had no motive for a crime, only motive in running from the scene of the accident. Well, the one way to gain citizen cooperation was to acquaint him with all the details of the accident, any and all information that we had or would obtain as the case worked towards solution. 10:15 p.m., Saturday, September 5th. In addition to the emergency broadcast put out at the time of the accident, supplemental broadcasts and APBs were sent out. Ben and I then started to make up a special police bulletin.
Wanted for manslaughter and hit-and-run felony.
Okay. Information regarding identity of occupant of following hit-and-run vehicle. Regarding identity of occupant.
Yeah. Vehicle, okay.
Got it?
Mm-hmm.
Involved in accident resulting in death of 2 female pedestrians.
Accident. Yes. Accident occurred September 5th. Approximately what time, Joe?
7:30 p.m.
Right. On Los Feliz Boulevard at intersection of Commonwealth Avenue.
Okay. Now, can I see what we got?
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. Occupant, young male, Caucasian, approximately 18 to 19 years of age. Vehicle, 1934 Ford sedan, black with tan undercoat, driven by male occupant. This car will have extensive damage to front end. Facsimile photographs of type of car wanted appear on this bulletin.
I got the photos right here. Side, front, and back view.
Okay, this ought to do it. Let's get it down to the printing bureau right away, huh?
Yeah. Auto paint shops, wrecking yards, garages, repair stations, used car lots, insurance company.
The daily papers are running a spread on it in the next edition.
That ought to cover it?
Yeah, it's all there if it gets to the right person. Wednesday, September 9th, 10:45 a.m. The inquest of the 2 hit-and-run victims was held, and the jury returned a quick verdict of manslaughter, 2 counts, naming a John Doe as guilty. For the next 3 weeks, we received numerous phone calls concerning the black Ford sedan. All leads were checked out and failed to materialize. Cars fitting the description of the wanted vehicle were constantly being stopped and the occupants questioned. We got nowhere. Ben and I followed up on our bulletins. We checked various garages and paint shops. Used car lots were checked and rechecked. No luck. Monday, October 3rd, 2:30 p.m. We were on our way back to the office after having canvassed several wrecking yards and repair stations.
I never knew they made so many black 34 Fords here. I don't see how we could have overlooked anything, you.
No, I don't. Something ought to break on this thing soon.
We just had a little more to go on. That license number, if somebody could have seen it.
Yeah, that'd help, wouldn't it? I'll get it. Traffic, Friday.
Hello, my name's Dan Provost. I run a used car lot in Dan's Corner at 54736 6th Avenue.
Yes, sir?
I'd like to talk to somebody regarding that last bulletin you sent out September 7th this year.
Well, I think maybe I can help you, sir.
That 34 Ford you're looking for on that hit and run thing?
Yeah, that's right.
Young kid, blonde, says he's got some repair work for us.
Yeah?
I got one of my mechanics stalling him now.
What's the car look like, Mr. Provost?
Like the one you're looking for. The reason I called is because he says he banged up the front end. Right away I remember the bulletin.
All right, sir. See if you can hold him there, will you? We'll be right over.
I'll do my best.
We'll be right there, sir.
I think I've got your man for you.
It took us to get to 50 Dan's Corner. We crossed over the gravel-covered lot to the rear where we found it.
Yes, sir, that's right. I'm sorry, I did my best, but I couldn't hold him here without making him suspicious, but I'm sure he'll be back.
How do you know?
You see, he bought this car from us, says he had a little accident and wanted us to fix it up for him. I told him we would if he'd bring it in.
Why do you think you left? It's only been about 15 minutes since you called us downtown.
Well, he might have heard me talking to you.
Well, if he did, and he's our man, I doubt very much if he'll be back.
I bet he will. Blonde kid, about 19 years old, driving a black 34 Ford just like the one you're after.
Well, can you give us his name and the license number of the car?
Sure, it's Curly Watson. License number, got it right here. 9R9707. I looked it up on his contract.
And this name, Curly, you have his full name?
Sorry, I guess I'm a little excited. It's Wilfred E. Watson. Everybody around here calls him Curly. I'm pretty sure he's the one you want. I know that car. I bought it from us about 5 months ago.
Well, it's just too bad you couldn't have detained him just a little longer, Mr. Provost.
Well, like I say, you don't have to worry. He'll be back.
What makes you so sure?
From the way he described the damage to us, I'd say he's got about $75 to $100 worth of work on that front end.
Yeah?
I know he's the man you want. I'm going to be in trouble if he's not.
What do you mean?
Well, it was the only thing I could do on the spur of the moment like that.
Yeah?
That's how I know for sure he'll be back here.
Well, how's that?
I told him I'd fix his car free.
You are in the forgery division of a Metropolitan Police Department. Handwriting analysis.
All right, now write the alphabet in lowercase, please.
You are listening to a handwriting expert taking an exemplar of a suspect's handwriting.
Now write the numerals from 1 to 10, please.
This handwriting sample will be compared with a forged signature. Side by side, two signatures may often look alike, but closer examination will prove a world of difference. You'll find the same is true when you compare king-size cigarettes.
Fatimas are the same length as any other king-size cigarette, 85 millimeters. Fatima has the same circumference, 1 1/64 inches around.
And Fatima filters the smoke exactly the same long distance as other king-size cigarettes.
But in Fatima, the difference is quality.
Fatima gives you extra mildness, a much different, much better flavor and aroma. You get all the advantages of extra length, plus Fatima quality, which no other king-size cigarette has.
So compare Fatima yourself. Your first puff will tell you...
Ah, that's different.
Yes, in Fatima, the difference is quality. Best of all, long cigarettes.
We called Lieutenant McDermott and filled him in. He sent Sergeants Kilpatrick and McClendon out to relieve Ben and me and to maintain a stakeout on Dan's Corner, the used car lot, in the event the suspect should return. We went back downtown to R&I. Wilfred E. Watson had a record and was wanted by the Fresno Police Department, where he had jumped bail. The charge was grand theft. We took Watson's mugshot back to the used car lot, where he was positively identified by Dan Provost. Ben and I went to his last known address. The landlady told us that Watson had moved approximately a month ago and had not left a forwarding address. From his mama sheet, we obtained a list of his friends and associates. All efforts to locate him failed. The stakeout continued. We showed the mugshot to Richard Mortigan, the one good witness to the accident. He said he could not identify Watson as he did not get too good a look at him, but he stated that there was a possibility that he could be the man. A week went by. The whereabouts of the suspect was still unknown. Tuesday, October 10th, Ben and I were out running down a lead on Watson when we received a call to return to the office. Lieutenant McDearman met us as we got there.
I put that call in for you.
Anything doing there?
I got a lead. I don't know how good it'll be, but we ought to check it out right away.
Well, what do you got?
Well, we just received a call from the Santa Monica PD.
Uh-huh.
Mrs. Agnes Hastings called in and gave him a little something.
Yeah?
As I say, maybe there's nothing in it, but see what you think.
All right.
The Hastings woman stopped in at a local soda fountain down there. The place is patronized by the hot rod crowd.
Mm-hmm.
Said she overheard part of a conversation between a couple of the kids.
Yeah?
This one dark-haired boy was sitting at the counter when another kid walked in the front door. The kid that came in had red hair. The dark-haired kid said, "Hi, Red," and the redhead sat down by him.
Yeah.
And one of the kids made some remark about the boy's red hair. Asked him why he dyed it. The redhead said, "Well, they're looking for a blonde, aren't they?"
Yeah? It could be a little something, huh?
Yeah, I thought so. Then the Hastings woman followed the redheaded boy outside and took the license number of his car.
Mm-hmm. Anything there?
I don't know yet. Ran it through DMV, but it's not in the file. Mark Benson's got a call into Sacramento now.
Anything new on Watson?
No, nothing yet.
Well, where can we find this Agnes Hastings, Max?
Oh, here's the address right here.
Okay, thank you.
Well, that's all she had. Said she'd been following the hit-and-run story in the papers. Thought this might be worth forwarding anyway.
Yeah.
Oh, just a minute.
Mm-hmm.
Traffic, McDearman. Oh, hi, Art. Yeah? Oh, you did, huh? Mm-hmm. Yeah, I see. Uh-huh. Yeah. Yeah, right. Bye. That was Art Kilpatrick. He and McClendon picked up Watson.
Yeah, anything?
They're bringing him in now. They say this Watson denies the hit and run. Jones will check his car over, then we'll know a little more.
Well, there's not much we can do till we hear from Benson on the Santa Monica thing.
Well, maybe there is.
What's that?
We got 2 leads. We can hope one of them's right.
While waiting for the call from Mark Benson at CHP, Ben and I drove over to the police garage on South Figueroa. Wilfred Watson's car had been impounded, and Lee Jones had made his investigation. His findings eliminated Watson's 34 Ford as being the hit-and-run car. Investigation showed that Watson's car was involved in an accident, but this was 5 days prior to the killing of the 2 women pedestrians. Wilfred E. Watson was booked for the Fresno authorities for prosecution on their warrant. This left only the one lead, the red-headed boy who had dyed his hair. If Agnes Hastings' observations had been correct, the fact that the boy originally had blonde hair made him a possible suspect. 11 a.m. The information from DMV came through from Sacramento. The car was registered to a Calvin L. Martin, 16 Boardwalk Lane, Santa Monica. The car was a 1939 Dodge sedan, legal the same. 16 Boardwalk Lane was a small beach house facing out on the Pacific Ocean in the town of Santa Monica. 11:26 a.m. We arrived in front of the house.
This is it, number 16.
Yeah, all right, let's go up on the porch.
Mm-hmm. I don't see anybody around. Looks like nobody's home.
Well, let's try the bell.
Mm-hmm.
I guess you're right. Nobody home.
Yeah. Let's check the garage, huh?
All right. It's around the side, isn't it?
Yeah, it's right there.
Oh, yeah.
Padlock. Maybe there's a window on the side. Yeah. Come here, Joe.
All right.
Window's kind of dirty. I'll wipe it off a little.
Yeah, that's better, huh? Can you see anything?
Take a look, Joe.
Let me see. Yeah. Looks like a 34 Ford to me.
Notice the left front fender?
Yeah. Pretty badly dented, isn't it?
Looks like we're home, maybe, huh?
Well, I'd like to get a closer look.
Thanks a lot, Sid. See you back to work, huh? Sure. Okay.
Young kid got out of a car out front. Looks like a redhead from here.
Come on.
Hi. You men want something?
Police officers.
Yeah.
Do you live here?
Yes, I do. What's wrong?
What's your name?
Louis Martin.
Who is Calvin L. Martin?
My father. Why?
Was he on a 1939 Dodge?
Yeah, that's right. Anything wrong?
Whose car is that down in the garage there?
Belongs to a friend of mine. I just let him keep it in there.
What's his name?
Jesse.
Yeah, well, Jesse what?
Jesse Armstrong.
Where does he live?
Over on Venice Boulevard.
What's the number?
I don't know offhand.
And you let him park his car here in your garage? You don't know where he lives?
Well, I know, but I just can't think of it. I don't understand. What's wrong?
You got a key to the garage?
No, Jesse's got it.
You don't keep a key to your own garage?
No, I let Jesse keep it.
You always had red hair?
Sure. Why?
Red on top and blonde at the roots. Is that it?
I wish you'd tell me what's going on.
No, Armstrong, you tell us.
Well,
Watch it, Joe. All right. Let's hold it right here. I didn't do anything. Let me go.
Well, how about it, son? That's the second time you tried to run now, isn't it?
How'd you find me? Who told you?
You want to tell us about it?
I didn't mean to hit those two women. I was coming home from up in L.A. I was late, and I was trying to hurry to get home. I didn't see him until it was too late.
Why didn't you stop? Why'd you run?
I was afraid. I just couldn't face it. I thought I could get away with it, I guess. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to do it.
Do you know those two old women died as a result of you running them down?
No. I didn't know they'd die.
All right, come on, son. Let's go.
I didn't really mean to do it. I'll tell everybody I'm sorry. I am sorry. That'll make a difference, won't it?
You killed two people. You figured.
The story you've just heard was true. Only the names were changed to protect the innocent.
On December 17th, trial was held in Superior Court, Department 81, City and County of Los Angeles, State of California. In a moment, the results of that trial.
And now here is our star, Jack Webb.
Thank you. Friends, I can give you over a dozen good reasons why Fatima is the best of all long cigarettes, but I'd rather let Fatima speak for itself. That's why I suggest that you buy a pack tomorrow, and then compare Fatima with any other long cigarette. You'll find, just as I have, Fatima's extra mildness gives you a much better flavor and aroma. You get all the advantages of extra length plus Fatima quality, which no other king-size cigarette has. Ask your dealer for Fatima, best of all long cigarettes.
The suspect, Louis T. Martin, was found guilty of manslaughter. He was sentenced to 1 year in the county jail and was placed on probation for 5 years. You have just heard Dragnet, a series of authentic cases from official files. Technical advice comes from the Office of Chief of Police W.H. Parker, Los Angeles Police Department.
Fatima Cigarettes, best of all long cigarettes, has brought you Dragnet, transcribed from Los Angeles.
Stay tuned for Counter Spy next over most NBC stations.